superstar on the offensive line.
Welcome to Draft Utopia, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Ransom, joined by Joseph Potter and William Yanish. And today we're going to talk about the national title, Miami versus Indiana. We will also talk about the coaching search. I might load up the simulator again. I've got it up to 65 players. And I've also, Joey's going to give us an update on the coaching cycle. We know Harbaugh's probably going to end up on the Giants. That's all we know right now. It hasn't been finalized yet. The terms haven't been finalized. He's going to get 20 years, $100 million, but there's certain stipulations he wants. Like, he wants 3 safeties. He wants an extra edge rusher. He wants to take tackles and kick them inside to guard. And Joe Schoen is not signing off on that. And that's what's holding up the contract from being finalized with Harbaugh. We'll get to that and other stuff later. But
yeah, because I got a little nugget about how the Giants ended up going from first to last, back up and getting him. I got a little nugget on that one. It's pretty entertaining.
That's good stuff. And and then we'll have the playoff game. We'll break down the playoff games at noon, but I think right now we're probably going to focus on Indiana, Miami. The national championship at the Orange Bowl. The U's won 3 national titles at the Orange Bowl. Can they win a 4th one there? I'm going to say no, because they rejected Mendoza, who grew up in Miami, went to Christopher Columbus High School, and I think Indiana just has too many talented pieces. They have my number 1 left tackle, Carter Smith. Carter Smith is my number 1 left tackle in this draft. I've moved him into the top 10 of the draft simulator. He's actually 6th on my big board now, behind Jeremiah Love at 5. So honestly, the more I watch Carter Smith, the more I think that's the guy the Browns should take at 6. I don't know if they will go that route, and I'm not even sure if he'll declare, because some have a 3rd round grade on Carter Smith, but he can maintain blocks for 6 to 7 seconds, 6.5 seconds on passing plays. He can maintain blocks that long on running plays as well. And it's weird. We'll see if that holds up. But yeah, his upside, I think he could be the Will Campbell of this draft. We'll see. I know Miami's got Reuben Bain Jr. They've got another good edge rusher. Keontae Scott, D'Angelo Pons. Both these teams have locked down number 1 corners. The Miami Hurricanes, they have a freshman receiver in Malachi Toney, who's been very dominant. Well, not draft eligible till 2028, but probably my number 2 player behind Mestamaker at the moment. Elijah Surratt. As much as I like Keontae Scott and OJ Frederique, I just feel like Indiana's got too many weapons. Pat Coogan at center. They've got Carter Smith at left tackle. A lot of Mendoza's throws are predetermined with RPOs. But at the same token, I just think Indiana wants it more, and I think the crowd's going to play a factor. But I also think it's not going to be a blow. It's not going to be like the last 2 rounds where Indiana routed Alabama and routed Oregon, 38-3 over Alabama, 56-22 over Oregon. I don't think it's going to be that ugly. And I mentioned this on Under the Bleachers with William the other day. My score for the national championship, Indiana 31, Miami 17. And I think Indiana pulls away in the 4th quarter, but it's very close until the 4th quarter.
Yeah, I have it a little closer than you do. I've actually got Miami winning, and one of the big reasons is I look at that, and you have 2 of the best offensive lines in college football. I'm looking at 2 positions. Miami's rush linebackers or defensive ends, and their offensive tackles. Malaga, or however you pronounce
tackle behind Carter Smith on the draft simulator. So
yeah.
He's going to have to open up running routes, and I think if Miami wants to steal this game, Mark Weber Jr., the running back who's been very good in these playoffs, is going to have to keep Indiana off the field, keep Mendoza from getting possession.
Here's the thing I'm looking at with that. He is one of the reasons he's so high on draft boards is that he can play both guard positions and right tackle. I think he's probably going to be closer to a right guard at the pros, but I think he'll be an all-pro right guard. And I think he'll start at right tackle. His versatility is important because he can get out there and do a lot of things on the second level, but he's also a road grader in the running game. So if they can take advantage of his ability to get things moving in the running game, as you said, get that running game churning, keep it out, because Mendoza, he is like a less refined Jared Goff. Okay. He is the only first round quarterback in this draft, and he is going to go to the Raiders. So if you have somebody who can be a less refined Jared Goff out there who can manage the game, the best way to keep that away and to make sure they don't score is to keep the ball away from them. So that leads to the running game, to your point. Another way is you have to shut down the edges. Okay, you have to have that contained. You cannot let those RPOs get out of control. And Miami is perfectly positioned with where their strengths are to keep those edges bogged down. And if you take away the RPOs, now you're making Mendoza work at a place that he's not really as comfortable working, and that's in the pocket without the RPO. You might have that basically makes him a play action quarterback, and that's not exactly what he's comfortable with. So if you can take away one of those options and just make him a play action quarterback, now you've got something that you can shut down Indiana's offense, because Sarad, as good as he is, he's going to have trouble if Mendoza is incapable of getting him the ball the way he needs to get it, because quarterback confidence is huge. And if you can make Mendoza struggle a little bit, kind of like what Indiana did to Moore last week, well, guess what's going to happen? Same thing that happened to Moore is going to happen to Mendoza. And I think that Miami is perfectly capable of doing that.
Yeah, Indiana's got a good left tackle and a good center in Coogan, and they've got Carter Smith. But the guards were suspect on a few plays against Tim Keegan in the 38-3 blowout against Alabama. And the right tackle did give up a sack to Mendoza in the Alabama game. So I think Miami's got two edge rushers. Whichever guy they line up at left end, whether it's Ruben Bain or the other edge rusher, I think that guy's going to have a clear direct path to Mendoza. But if Mendoza can anticipate it and make the right RPO reads, Indiana should find a way to move the chains. And that and Hemby running the ball is going to be key for Indiana. But William, what are your keys to this game? Since Joey's taking the Hurricanes, I'm taking the Hoosiers.
Oh, I'm definitely taking the tiebreaker here for Indiana. I mean, the momentum that they've had, I mean, has just been incredible. I mean, with this team, and Joey, saying he's like Mendoza's like Jared Goff. Mendoza is like Jared Goff. That's actually
the Doza. The Doza is a pizza. It's a deep dish pizza. It has cheese, pickles instead of pepperoni, and barbecue sauce. It's called the Doza. It's a deep dish pizza in Chicago. It's got pickles, barbecue sauce instead of marinara, and mozzarella cheese on it. It's very good.
Chris, why are you planning your lunch here? I mean,
I just wanted to inform you about the Doza. It's a deep dish pizza. There's a deep dish pizza named after Mendoza.
You want me to travel? You want me to travel 1,000 miles to go to Indiana to have a Doza?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm going to make a Doza during the draft stream. If I can't get good Wi-Fi in Pittsburgh for where the draft is this year, I think I might just make a Doza and eat it during the stream.
I like it. I like that a lot. That's a hell of an idea. But I've got Indiana 28-17 over Miami. It's just too much. Like you said, they're going to pull away at the end, and it might be 35-17. There might be an extra touchdown.
Because Notre Dame kept it close against Ohio State for 3 quarters, but Ohio State pulled away in the 4th quarter last year. That's how I think this title game's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
If that happens, I'd say Surratt is going to have a big, a huge effect on the game. The only problem I have with Surratt is that he almost got walked down by a middle linebacker against Iowa. Okay, walk down, not run down, walk down. This dude is like I said while I was watching the tape with a couple guys, I was like, if my old ass has a higher top speed than he does, we got issues.
Exactly. And I look at what's happening here, and I'm kind of curious to see what happens with this game today. What other matchups? Because Mikael Kamara versus Maui Go is a matchup we should probably talk about a little bit more, because I do have Mikael Kamara in my top 50. He had 10 sacks last year, only 1 this year. Then he had a sack against Alabama, a sack against Oregon. He's starting to get hot again. But Maui Go has got to shut down Mikael Kamara. And Beck, he's got to make the right reads. He's got to avoid D'Angelo Pons in coverage. And if Carson Beck can do that, the Hurricanes have a chance.
And you're perfectly correct, Chris, because this is a big matchup, because this is what I was talking about when it came to the edge rushers versus the offensive tackles in this matchup. Like right here, this could determine 2 guys as to whether they end up going in the top 10. I mean, this matchup in itself, not only for the national championship, if one dominates the other, could also be the determining factor in the NFL draft and how this turns out. These guys are 2 of the best in the business right now when it comes to college football, and they're going mano-a-mano here. This is kind of like that when Jack Conklin was left tackle Michigan State, and they had the Ohio State rusher, I think it was, and they were just going at it, and it was a fight to the death. And it ended up with both of them. I think both of them ended up going top 15 because they were just hitting each other. It was one of the funnest things I've ever seen. And I think that this matchup has the potential to be something similar to where you're just sitting there like, yeah, I know these wide receivers and everything are doing their stuff and it's fun to watch, but man, these guys right here, this is like gladiator type stuff. And we're Americans. We need to watch this.
Ruben Bain is 2 on my big board. Carter Smith, the Indiana left tackle, is 6 on my big board. I moved him up from 12 to 6. So what does that say? I think this is the highest OT edge rusher matchup in one-on-one since I want to say Jared Verse, Will Campbell, but Verse ended up dropping all the way to the 20s because the 2024 draft was so QB heavy. He first dropped to 19. He didn't drop to the 20s, but it felt like he dropped to the 20s. But yeah, Bosa and Conklin. Bosa was 3rd in the 2016 draft, and Conklin was 8th. But he was considered OT3, but he was OT2 because Tunsil got high before the draft and had the video. But yeah, fun trip down memory lane. But I agree, Joey. This is probably up there with Conklin and Bosa or Will Campbell versus Jared Verse in the LSU Florida State season opener a few years ago. This is up there with those 2 matchups as probably the best tackle matchup, edge rusher matchup over the decade. And Miami's tackles going up against Indiana's edge rusher too. That's why both matchups are equally critical on both sides of the ball. Either team can dominate in the trenches. That team will be the team that more than likely prevails. Do we have any other closing thoughts? Anything else we want to bring up about this game before we get into the coaching hires?
I guess not, man.
I mean, all right. That's fine.
Yeah, I was seeing if William had anything to say because I didn't want to dominate the conversation here. If he didn't have anything else to say, I'm just going to say this. It's this game is going to be decided in the trenches. You got two of the best front fours defensively, and in my opinion, you've got two of the top three offensive lines. You can put Ohio State in there, and if you want to go forward, you can put Oregon in there. And these two offensive lines survived that gauntlet. So guess what? This is going to be decided in the trenches right here, and it's going to be a fun slugfest, the likes we have not seen in probably since the probably in 3 or 4 years. So it's going to be fun to watch because I don't think there's going to be a lot of high flying, offensive stuff going on. I think it's going to be on the ground. I think there are going to be a few key catches, and I think these guys are just going to beat the crap out of each other and may the best man win.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely agreed. And I mean, it's just really straightforward. There's not a whole lot of flash here. There's not a whole lot of anything. There's just some football that's going to be played, and that's where Cignetti starts, is in the trenches. So, I mean, he's a great coach, and he's got a bright future in Indiana. And they are well on their way to their national title this year. So I don't see it going too many other ways.
There is a game on NFL Network today. It's actually the American Bowl. That's on at noon, I believe, on NFL Network. So I'm just looking to see if there's any.
Because I was just about to ask you about that because I had not heard of who was playing in that again this year. I've heard nothing about it.
They aired the Hula Bowl last week, but it was only available online because CBS Sports refused to air it. Apparently, there's some legal issues with the Hula Bowl. I'm not exactly sure what the whole. Eric McAllister, the junior that declared for the draft, who I have a third-round grade on, is on Team Guardians in the American Bowl today. So that is a name to watch. Eric McAllister. He is
really McAllister's on. I figured he would have gone to one of the bigger bowls.
Yeah, but he's in the American Bowl. That's probably the player to watch in that game today. RJ Maryland, the SMU tight end that we talked about on that show with 100 yards of football, he's the tight end in the American Bowl today. Metayer, the Arizona tight end, and Kitzelman are also in the in this bowl game for Team Guardians and Team Warhawks. Castellanos is the backup quarterback. Maverick McIvers, the starter for Team Guardians, and Morehead State's quarterback, Jack Strand, is the third stringer. And then Team Warhawks has DeQuan Finn starting at quarterback, started out at Baylor, then went to Toledo, then went to Miami, Ohio. Jacob Clark is the backup, and Kali Kamanis, the Rutgers quarterback, is the third stringer. But yeah, this game has a little bit of appeal to it. I don't think it has as much appeal as it has more appeal than the Hula Bowl, as surprising as that sounds, but with McAllister and some of these tight ends, there is a little bit more appeal than I thought there would be. Bryce Foster is going to be the center for Team Guardians. Bryce Foster is one of the better centers in college football. Connor Tolleson, the Missouri center, is also going to be in this game, both on Team Guardians. Tristan Lay, the Clemson right guard, is going to be in this game. Ruben Fathery, the Texas A&M right tackle, is going to be in this game. So Ethan Onyabwa, the Ohio State tackle that transferred from Rice, is going to be a backup in this game. Maybe he'll kick inside to guard, but that's just some of the offensive line things I've heard. Interesting. Aaron Graves, who I had a third-round grade on, is on Team Warhawks at defensive tackle. He is in this game today. Iowa defensive tackle. And Peyton Zadorek, Air Force. Damone Payne, the younger brother of Deron Payne, went to Michigan. I don't think they're related, but Damone Payne, Michigan D tackle, is in this game. TJ Guy, the Michigan edge rushers on Team Warhawks. Linebackers, I'm looking right now. I don't really see a big name. I do see Mason Woods, the Kent State linebacker. Jack Dingle, Cincinnati. I don't see a lot of linebackers that excite me in this game. But yeah, I'm going through the lineups here. I don't see a lot that's exciting at safety. And then cornerback, DJ Harvey for USC. Aiden Gaines, another player I have a round 3 grade on, is on Team Guardians. So Aiden Gaines is in this game. Elijah Colt, the James Madison corner, is in this game. Ricardo Hallman's on Team Warhawks. AZ Hamilton, Fresno corner that I had a 4th on at the years in this game. So Rashad Battle, the pick corner. Nasir Bowers, Toledo corner. Deshaun Rucker, the South Florida corner. Quarterbacks are better than advertised in this game. And the Hawaii kickers on Team Warhawks. The Hawaii kickers
Grace than Castanella. I mean, at quarterback, is there a further fall from Grace? Because I think it was 2-3 years ago, we were talking about this guy as potentially being,
he dominated at Boston College last year, but he struggled at Florida State this year, William. But he had a great season opener against Alabama. Just deck Ty Simpson in the season opener.
Yeah, and over the years, he has just fallen. He's just fallen off. Why? I don't know. Maybe it was the school he was at. Maybe, some of the choices he made. But, man, we were talking about him being ultra talented. And then
bowl games was better than I thought it would be. It's not on par with the Shrine Bowl or the Senior Bowl, but there's actually a little bit more star power than I anticipated, Joey, and that's a good thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I do love the tight end room. I think there is. Well, I will go with the tight end and receiver room. I will put those into one because I think there's some talent there to be had within rounds 2 through 5. I think there's a lot of talent there because there's something. Myself and one of the other guys that scouts players I was talking to at work were talking about. This draft is full of great offensive line talent that from rounds 1 through 5. And it's also filled with great receiver talent. And we said receiver because the tight end position is part of what we were talking about in that. These guys that, and I think that this bowl game will showcase that. Because those receivers from rounds, tight ends included, from rounds 3 through 7 are going to be showcased here. And that's going to show, hey, it's not just these big guys that are holding things. It's like myself and Dee were talking about it, and we're like, yeah, there's a lot more talent here than a lot of people are talking about.
Will Pauling, the Notre Dame receiver, is going to be teammates with McAllister in this game as well. So Gabe Benyard, Kennesaw State's wide receiver on their Conference USA title team, he's going to be here. Max Tomczak, the Youngstown State wide receiver, is going to be in this game as well. And this is
Tomczak's going to be a sleeper. Watch him.
So this game, it's 8 p.m. on NFL Network, but I'm semi-excited about this game. I did not think I'd be excited about this at all.
I'm
excited about this game.
What you're talking about with some of these guys, this is going to be a low-key great game. Even if you don't catch it live, if it's on NFL Network, that means if you get the NFL Network app or you are subscribed to NFL Plus, you're going to get that thing, and you're going to be able to watch it at any time between now and with that talent. They may not be the big names, but, man, there's going to be some fireworks coming on with that talent. All you have to do is watch it.
Yeah. I went to the East-West Shrine Bowl in person, 23. I think the final score was 12-6, and Jake Moody made 4 field goals. And that was the difference in the game. And I was on the sidelines watching that game. It was not a fun game to attend in person. Boring, but
I'm sure you learned something, though, about these guys.
I did learn something, and I did get to watch some of the players interact, and I got to interview Jake Moody after the game. So I did have fun at the game, but I just feel like this game has a chance to be more entertaining than that. Maybe that's because of the lack of scoring. I don't know, William. But
man. They've got this quarterback He's got this classic name, man. His name is Briggs Cherry. 6'4", 215 pounds, and apparently he's getting his cherry pop today.
Briggs Cherry.
And yeah, he plays for committed to Louisville, obviously, and
Giggity.
Jeff Brom. That's definitely interesting.
I think he's a freshman. Briggs Cherry.
Yep.
He's a true freshman.
Well, I will say this though: when it comes to being coached by Brom, he's in good hands. He's a guy. Brom's a guy I always thought was an amazing mind for the quarterback position in the offensive game. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten more recognition than he has over the last couple of years. But he is in very good hands going in there, so I'm excited about his future.
Yeah, Brom's definitely a hell of a coach, and ex-player, comes from a football family. Brothers playing quarterback, everything else. And it's
William, I know you're a little more in touch with this stuff than I am when it comes to the college game. Do you know why Brom is not being talked about as, the brilliant mind that he is in the game and maybe head coaching positions or whatever? I mean,
I don't know.
Guys like him are usually highly coveted both in the college game and in the pro game, yet he is still sitting here. I mean, what's going on there, man?
Yeah, that's the thing is it's kind of a mystery because, I mean, Brom's obviously, I mean, his family, I mean, he played like back in 2000, something like that. I mean, he not getting that the interest of some of these coaches is actually kind of shocking.
Jordan Tyson's actually related to an NBA player, Joey. His brother is Jalen Tyson, who dropped 39 on the Sixers last night. Is Jalen Tyson Cavs?
No, we've been. They actually had a segment on that yesterday on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, saying that wouldn't it be cool if there are two brothers that are playing in the same city in two different sports? And I had to admit, it's like I'm not really as interested in the ins and outs of the, in that type of thing when it comes to any sport or any situation. But I would have to say, hey guys, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah,
two brothers and two
Pirates. Kanan Smith-Njigba. He's the older brother of Jackson Smith-Njigba. He played for the Pirates before Jackson got drafted by the Seahawks. He was in their prospect pool, but yeah.
Same thing with Drake May. His brothers are they played baseball at UNC, and
Drake May is. I would love to see one of his brothers as a starting pitcher for the Red Sox, just because, just like the Tyson, it would just be a cool story. It's like, it would almost be like Deion Sanders getting a touchdown the day after he got a home run in both debuts. I mean, it would just be a cool story, even though Deion did it two different sports, in the same weekend, it would still be a cool story. Two brothers, getting started with two professional teams in the same city, especially if it happened in the same weekend. That would be just freaking cool. I'm looking at the coolness factor here.
Oh, he's got three older brothers, Luke, Cole, and Bo. I'm not sure about baseball. I keep seeing basketball.
I want Bo to succeed because if Bo would start for the Red Sox, that would be cooler because his name is cooler. So you gotta go with Bo, okay? His older brother Bo, man, he's a Dukes of Hazzard. He's a real Duke.
For sure. Let's see. Yeah, I got to see how many of them, because I know they were, because his dad, I think, played baseball at UNC as well.
The Dukes of May.
Interesting. QB Film Room person who follows me on X, only 2.6 followers, but he interviewed Josh McCown the other day. So that's pretty cool. He actually interviewed Josh McCown. He posted like a 30-second clip of that a few minutes ago. That's
Oh, there's the baseball player. That's Cole May. Hey, he's got my birthday. Interesting. I'm a fan already. Pursued baseball and played as a pitcher for the University of Florida. So yeah, no, he's out of it now. He have to make a comeback, man. Of course, that whole family, maybe they could just. I'm sure.
I knew I'd heard of him from somewhere. Because I hear a lot about the University of Florida around here. It's all over the bloody place, and it's like I get some games. It's like I knew I heard the name when you said the name. I knew I heard it somewhere, and then when you said University of Florida, it's like, yeah, I've seen that dude play.
So he came out of the bullpen when they had Brady Singer.
Yeah, it was like I didn't recognize him, until William said University of Florida, and it's like, ha ha. That's who that is, but I had no idea it was Drake May's brother. But that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Sure.
Come on, William, give us more nuggets.
More nuggets.
More nuggets. I want a 20-piece of nuggets. I don't want the 5-piece. I want the 20-piece.
His father, Mark May, was that actually sounds really familiar, Mark May.
It really does. When you said Mark May, I'm like, shit, where have I heard that from?
Yeah, like I have a football card somewhere or something, somewhere that has that name on it. But yeah, no, that's his claim to fame for the, played for UNC in the 1980s.
Whew, dang, that was a while ago. I wonder if he ever played pro. That name sounds way too familiar.
For sure. But yeah, that's about.
Yeah, it's 11 a.m. We'll get into the coaching hires now, and then we'll let Joey take the lead on some of the coaching hires. Because Harbaugh, I know you got some stuff you want to say about Harbaugh, and I'm kind of curious to hear what else you got to say. So I'm going to mute myself and.
All right, I'm going to start with Harbaugh because that's obviously the name on everybody's list. What everybody wants to check off, and here's what I've heard: the Giants came out rocking. The Giants wanted Harbaugh, but the Giants got overtaken by the Browns because the Browns had Shedeur Sanders, who Harbaugh wanted to coach, and it turned out that he was overruled by the Ravens brass. They had the offensive coordinator that he would like. They had interviewed the offensive coordinator that he loves. I mean, they just had all this infrastructure he liked. And then, out of nowhere, Tennessee came around. He's like, I got $100 million in cap space. You can do whatever you want with it. And they were dangling that, and Harbaugh was like, oh, really? I can do whatever I want with your cap space. And you got $100 million of it, okay. And then the Giants come back in, and private jet, limousine, $1,000 lunches, $1,000 dinners, house in the Cayman Islands, a castle sitting on the beach. Well, not quite that, but I just made that last part up, and might as well have been. An open checkbook, and they were like, "Oh, these other teams are starting to get your attention, huh?" And they just laid out so much stuff that every other owner is just sitting there looking at them like, you know what, dude, just go get them, because we're not paying the amount that you're dishing out at this point, because it is. I mean, they're rolling out the red carpet. They get the spotlights, the media. doing the pictures. They're giving this guy anything he wants, and these other owners are just like, you know what? We were willing to give him a lot, but Giants, go ahead and do what you want, because that's basically what they did. The Giants just said, we ain't out of this, and they're basically doing what the Browns did for Deshaun Watson when they gave him that guarantee deal. The only thought process I have right now is because the owner always picks the head coach. The GM might lead the search, GM might do the paperwork, but it's all the owner. If the owner says this guy's going to be the head coach, and with Harbaugh, that's definitely the deal, because the owner is not giving out this much money and dishing out this many meals and spending this much money to court this guy, and just take him and make sure every other team's out of the running if he ain't making the decision. That's just the way it is. And they have basically said, John, whatever you want, and put out the blank check. And so Harbaugh will be the head coach, and if that general manager doesn't get on board and make this happen soon, that general manager may not have a job here within the next week. He needs to get this language correct, because from what I'm hearing, it's about the language. It's not about the intricacies or anything else. It's that the general manager won't agree to the language. He better agree to that damn language, or else he's not going to have a job, because the owner has spoken. When your boss speaks, you can dissent. You can say, I don't want to do this. I don't like this. Let's change this. But when that boss says, in this case, it's a multi-billion-dollar owner, when he says we're doing this, we're doing it. So he better get in gear, because he won't have a job if he doesn't get this language done, and the owner will get the language done. And at that point, John Harbaugh will choose his own general manager. So it is what it is. He is a giant. Whether anybody likes it or not, the owner made sure of it. He outbid the other owners, and the GM needs to get his butt in gear. On the contrary, I'm hearing some stuff about a couple young guys as well. Fieldhouse, the passing game coordinator for the Rams, I am hearing he is looked at very highly across the NFL. That he has, because he does have experience as an offensive coordinator calling plays. He has experience in a McShay. He has experience all over the map, but he's also young. And that's what they're looking at. And coaches are like, okay, we can work with this. And he is very good. His main abilities are adjusting on the fly. Because you're not going to teach Matt Stafford anything. I mean, Matt Stafford is what he is. You got a couple of the best wide receivers in the NFL. You're not going to teach them a lot. But what you're going to have to do is adjust you're going to have to adjust your game, because defenses adjust well. And they're looking at him and saying, he is a master. He's got a good scheme, but he is a master at adjusting. And he's going to adjust wherever he needs to adjust. And they love that about him. The NFL circles love that about him. The only question is whether he's ready right now. And the thought is, the same thought is with him and the Jacksonville offensive coordinator. He might not be ready now. What about in a year or two? And if you're not going to have an opening in a year or two, why not just hire him now and let him learn on the fly? Jacksonville offensive coordinator, the only he's another one. I can't really pronounce his name, Udinski or whatever it is. He is the exact opposite, almost. As he is able to develop players and put them in positions to succeed immediately. Now that is now he didn't call plays, but that's as a head coach, I don't care if you call plays or not, because you're going to have to oversee everything. If you don't call plays, that just gives you more time to oversee things. So that is a big thing, and people are very high on him, but they think he's too young. He needs more seasoning because he just turned 30, and he's the same age as David Njoku, to put it in perspective. So there are going to be players, especially veterans, that are going to say, this kid that's only been a coordinator for a year is coaching me? Not so much. And that is something that's keeping him from the situation. He will need another year or two, according to a lot of teams that I've been hearing about. And the Browns head coaching search has the three guys I've heard. They eliminated Tommy Reese. I've been hearing Fieldhouse, Radinsky from the Jaguars, and Jim Schwartz. And I heard this morning that Jim Schwartz is taking the lead. He has so those are the three guys left in the Browns search. And the Ravens search is still wide open. The Ravens, I haven't heard much about the Steelers search. Obviously, that just happened. We'll know more about that coming forward.
All right, I'm closing in on a deal with a I'm looking at an affiliate deal with a company, and the company I'm looking at for a potential affiliate deal is Ice Shaker. They are the protein shake they have like ice shakers for different NFL teams. They now have a Drake May ice shaker. They have a Cam Scatterboot ice shaker, and this is the company that's owned by Rob Gronkowski. So Rob Gronkowski does own Ice Shaker. And I'm looking at potentially getting an affiliate joining the affiliate program, like a referral link. And basically we'd have to promote the Ice Shaker brand, but I don't really have a problem with that because I think this is a good brand. And they've got a Drake May Ice Shaker. They've got a Scattaboo Ice Shaker. I'm just excited about.
I've heard of the company. They're a good company. I've looked at their products. It wouldn't be a bad affiliate program. They're a nice company. They get some good stuff. I was actually contemplating buying something of theirs about a year ago, but shit happens, and disposable income is not exactly what it was before that. But they're a good company, so I wouldn't have any problems with that as long as you know how to do it between segments and not in the middle of segments.
Yes.
You have to, because now you're going to have to segment the show because you don't exactly have the options of, just saying something right in the middle of the show. You're going to have to segment it.
I'm going to read the terms and conditions off the air. I'm not going to read that on the air.
Oh, do not read that on the air. That would be bad. Yeah. Yes. That would be bad.
I'm smart enough not to read that on the air, but I appreciate the reinforcement, Joey. It's refreshing to know that you have my best interest in that respect.
Yeah, because I know you, and you oftentimes say things you shouldn't be saying on the air. So this is one where I'll be like, no, just keep that shit to yourself. Do not say that on the air.
Yeah, I'm smart enough not to say that on the air.
But yeah, the coaching situation for a lot of these teams, remember, and I mentioned a couple of these guys because, remember, 9 openings, now 8 openings. Okay? 9 openings, now 8 openings. There are not 8 head coach worthy players. Technically, if you're looking at it, 3 guys that are top candidates that should have a head coaching job are Kevin Stefanski, Jim Schwartz, and Mike McDaniel. And Mike McDaniel is looking at offensive coordinator jobs because, in his opinion, from what I've heard, he has, from NFL circles say, you have one more shot. That's it for Mike McDaniel. I don't know why. I don't know why the mandate got put down, but that's what I'm hearing. And McDaniel saying, rather than take an imperfect job, I would rather become a coordinator for a year or two rather than use my last shot on a job that may not bear fruit, and then I'm left out to dry, and my head coaching prospect career is over. So that's why McDaniel takes the offensive coordinator job.
That he has one opportunity left. I mean, he's what, maybe 42 years old, somewhere in there. Yeah, I mean,
that's why I'm wondering why I'm hearing that. Because that means something kind of happened.
I think that's people just getting ahead of themselves, trying to make things dramatic and everything else. I mean,
or
if you think about it, I mean, who all is connected in that coaching tree? I mean, between the Shanahans and
my thought is that there are owners and general managers trying to position themselves because they like him and want to make sure that whether he takes a job or not, they're in position for a later job. I think it's all posturing. I think it's positioning. And why the thought process is the way it is, I don't know. But it doesn't seem like a great way to posture to me. But I think it's just posturing by some people that want to position themselves at some point because maybe, guys, because remember, there were teams that were calling Harbaugh's agent that had head coaches that were still calling about him. So maybe it's from those teams saying, okay, McDaniel, take an offensive coordinator job because this guy ain't going to be around too much longer, and then we are going to come after you in the future.
Yeah, well, that's all interesting and all, but a guy who played football for Yale. I mean, obviously he's
Grant Brzezinski's the guy you were thinking of, Joey, but I was thinking of Declan Doyle, the Bears offensive coordinator, but he's probably going to get passed on this cycle, especially if the Bears make a deep playoff run. But I think he'll get hired next year, especially if the Bears end up in the NFC title or the Super Bowl this season.
Yeah, but William, to your point, I think there's some posturing going on behind the scenes with McDaniel, and I think that's the entire thought of why this is going around, because somebody had to put that out there, and I think it's somebody who is not as sure about their coaching situation and wants to ensure McDaniel is there for them next year.
I've heard the same thing with McDaniel. He would rather be OC on a playoff contender that's consistent contender like the Lions, Eagles, or Steelers than be a head coach on a team that's just in a total rebuild right now. That's basically what I've heard.
Yeah.
And it matches up with what Joey's been reporting as well.
It's
the Raiders have scheduled a second interview with Panthers defensive coordinator Urjo Everett. I'm going to go ahead and guess that's who the Raiders end up hiring because the Raiders, when it comes to the bigger names in the coaching cycle, they're going to have less leverage compared to teams like the Falcons, Steelers, Ravens. So my guess is they're
historically speaking, second interviews are the interviews that are really showing who the team's leaning toward. If one team doesn't have like 3 or 4 second interviews, you kind of know who they're leaning toward. Once that second interview comes down, they're probably going to hire that guy.
Because the Raiders are not a team that's going to have their pick of the litter like some of these other teams in the coaching cycle.
No, because the Raiders the owner isn't great. The situation with the players isn't great. You only have you had the first overall pick, yeah, but which will get you the quarterback. But at the same time, what else do you have? You have a very good young running back. What about the offensive line? The offensive line kind of sucks.
I think
It's not the
partially
league, but it ain't great either.
Colton Miller will be healthy next year, and if he is, the offensive line won't suck as much. You've got Jackson Powers Johnson. You've got Kappa, and you've got Delmar Glaze, DJ Glaze at right tackle. I was never a fan of Glaze, but the Raiders took him in the third.
I'm not a huge fan of Glaze either. Glaze just seems like the Raiders do have two really nice offensive linemen, but I think the other three are just kind of Powers Johnson's good, but I heard they're trying to move
Colton
him.
Miller and Jackson Powers Johnson are really the only two high-end offensive linemen when healthy.
Yeah.
And if Cassius Howell pans out and you bring back Kappa or Dylan Parham as your left guard, you can make that unit work. It's not great, though. But if you're the Raiders, you'd rather have an offensive-minded head coach, because if you hire Everett, he's your head coach, and you don't have an offensive-minded coach and Mendoza doesn't develop, that's not a great position for Mendoza to be in.
No, and you also have to look at Fieldhouse, and, people are saying, hey, he may be an offensive coordinator, but right now we're hearing a lot of defensive coordinators getting head coaching positions. I think the defense coordinator for the Raiders, and I think Jim Schwartz is going to be with the Browns. So Fieldhouse right now becomes a huge commodity, not only as a coaching candidate, but as an offensive coordinator candidate in that sense. So you want to look at the movement with Fieldhouse, because it's the defensive coordinator situation, because remember, Chargers defense coordinator is also in the mix. Packers defense coordinator is also in the mix. Fieldhouse becomes a huge commodity at this point, because you do have a lot of defense coordinators potentially getting head coaching jobs in this cycle.
I agree with that. Also, the American Bowl is not until Thursday. I thought it was tonight. It's actually Thursday on the 22nd. Today's January 17th. So the American Bowl is Thursday. The Shrine Bowl is the 29th, and then the Senior Bowl is the 31st, I believe. So just throwing that out there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I thought we were going to have a backup plan in case the Seahawks-49ers game was a blowout. But it makes sense why they wouldn't air that tonight with all the with the Shrine, with the conference title games next week on a Sunday, and with NFC tonight, playoffs on Saturday night. It makes sense why they wouldn't air that. All right. What else do you guys want to talk about? You got any more coaching news, Joey?
No, I think that's about it right now. I think until the next domino, I think until the next two dominoes fall, not one. I think two dominoes more have to fall, and I think then we're going to get more news out. But I think there are a couple more candidates that need to fall and get their staffs together, because there are a lot of candidates right now.
Going to be hired by Pittsburgh or Miami. I can already tell you that, because Shula fits the profile for what Pittsburgh wants, but the Dolphins have already conducted a second interview with Chris Shula, mainly because of his relation to former Dolphins legendary head coach Don Shula. So
then he's going to get the job. If you get the second interview, more than likely they're going to get the job.
And the Dolphins have to move on this fast, because I think I've heard Shula is at the top of the Steelers list as well. So if you're the Dolphins, you need to close this second interview and you need to move fast.
Yeah, because
you potentially risk Shula.
Shula is a hot commodity right now, and that is nobody's gonna, argue against that. Shula is a hot commodity. If you want a defensive player and you want it under the McVay tree, you go after Shula, get him now, and you don't ask questions. And I think, and if the Dolphins are bringing him in for a second, the Dolphins cannot let him, during the small window that they get between games, They cannot let him leave the building without a contract.
I've heard the Falcons want a former head coach with experience, and the two
Isn't
that
that what they
Matt
did
Ryan's
last
looking
time,
at
though?
are Robert Saleh and Kevin Stefanski. And I've also heard Atlanta's going to have a second interview with Stefanski. So I believe Stefanski to Atlanta will be the next domino that falls.
Yeah, Stefanski. That obviously makes sense since Salah obviously is just 1 year removed from what happened in New York, and back with the Niners.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going anywhere for this year.
I think Matt Ryan would prefer to hire an offensive mind versus a defensive mind too.
Yeah.
And that was the speculation early that Stefanski would be the next domino to fall. So that would also fit into that speculation, is that Stefanski is the next domino to fall. And when that happens, because he was also speculated to be the Titans running and the Ravens.
Harbaugh was in the Falcons job, but he ultimately chose Giants over Falcons and Titans.
Well, if the Giants offer me what they offered Harbaugh, I'd take that too.
Yeah.
I mean, they might as well offer him a castle in the Cayman Islands, right there on the beach, so he could overlook the freaking Dolphins playing. When you get offered that much, it's like, Mr. Blank, I like you. You're probably the nicest owner in sports, but this guy just offered me presidency of Cancun.
Yeah, the Giants are ready to offer those 1-877-8 I need cash now commercials. The Giants are about to do one of those.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like, I mean, when I heard the news, I was like, yeah, Giants were number 3 at this point, so they probably just opened up a checkbook. And then my buddy was telling me exactly what they were doing, and I'm like, damn, I'd do that too. It's like, I don't care who the hell you are. You're going to offer me that much, I'm going. I mean, Giants went on well. You got to give them credit. They wanted a guy. They went out and they opened up the checkbook. Not going to be upset with the guy for taking it.
I'm still wondering what some of these teams are doing. I mean, it has to be pretty obvious. There was 8 or 9 freaking head coaching vacancies. Like,
yeah,
you need to get in there and get your guy and get out, because I mean, I'm not sure, sitting there posturing for position or whatever with some of these coaches and all, I mean, I think a team obviously needs to get in there, move fast, get their guy hired, and get their future, decided. If they have any good management in the world, that's what they would be doing. And obviously there's a playoffs and that kind of stuff going on, and everybody wants to, but
it's like I totally agree, William. The only candidates I would say, I might make an exception for the guys with the Rams, because the Rams got like 3 or 4 guys that are still in the playoffs. It's hard for them to go everywhere to do all the interviews. But outside of that, it's like, these guys, if they're your guys, you need to get in there, get it done, get your interviews taken care of, because I know some teams were doing interviews before the season ended to get the Rooney Rule taken care of so they could get these guys, and then they did absolutely nothing. So what are you doing? You're preparing well, and then you're sitting on your hands. What the hell are they doing? I mean, it doesn't make sense. I mean, at least I can say the Browns, Titans, and Giants were sitting there like, you know what? We're going to put our hat in there, and if we win, we win. We lose, we lose. And the Giants won. I can at least say they were at least trying. And But what about the others? What have we heard about what the others were doing? We got 3 teams that were actively trying.
The
And
Giants
then
are
we have the
trying.
Falcons that were
trying.
struggling.
The Ravens are just being more selective. Same with the Steelers. The Ravens and Steelers, they're going to be super selective with who
Well,
they
with the Steelers, they're going to hire somebody for the next 20 years. They have a reason to be selective. They're not hiring anybody for the next decade. So I can understand the Steelers in that situation.
Yeah,
The
and the
Ravens-
Ravens have been pretty selective as well. They've only had 3 head coaches in their franchise's history. So the Ravens and Steelers are going to be selective. And it really, outside of the Raiders, it really doesn't feel like any of the teams aren't trying. Teams are trying, but they're still vetting out guys, making sure they meet their interview requirements.
But with this many people, to William's point, with this many teams, man, you got to go out there and get your guy. You can't sit back because your guy's going to be gone.
Yeah, the first 2 guys last year were Mike Vrabel and Ben Johnson. And once those 2 dominoes fell, everything else fell into play.
This is a third of the NFL looking for head coaches.
Actually, a fourth, because there were 9 head coaching hires. Harbaugh to the Giants. There's still 8 openings out of 32, so that's a fourth of the league.
Yeah, but when you started, it was close to a fourth. 32 teams, 9 openings.
You'd have to be like 10 to 12 openings in order for there to be a third. But yeah,
it's close to a third. But to William's point, guys, if you want your guy and you don't want the second tier guys,
well, it's not like they didn't have an idea that they weren't going to have a head coach. Most of them.
Yeah, we're just going to go into the season. We're going to let our offensive and defensive coordinator run everything, and we're going to just see where. Oh God, no!
You probably have your plan going before you actually can the guy.
Yeah, that's like having a Ferrari with no engine. It's like, come on, guys. It looks good. You got your coordinators. Okay, who's driving the truck? I don't know. We're just going to run into a brick freaking wall. It's like, we're going to push it, and it's going to run into the side of that building. We're going to say, damn, we should have hired that head coach.
Okay, so
who did you hire? Nobody.
I've got a question for you, Joey.
Yeah.
Obviously the Browns are one of these teams, and you're not so outspoken on the subject, but who do you think is going to be the Browns quarterback next year, and who is the best offensive coordinator to be that guy?
I do think Shedeur Sanders will be the quarterback next year, and I think he should be. But at the same time, now you also bring up a very good question: who should be the offensive coordinator? That's a heck of a question, because everybody knows I love Tommy Rees. But at the same time, because I was thinking about this the other day, I said Tommy Rees was asked in the last half of the season to make chicken salad out of chicken shit and throw glitters on it when it came to Kevin Stefanski's offense. And I was like, sometimes life ain't fair. Guys, life ain't fair. And sometimes you need to take a step back. I think Tommy Rees is going to be a head coach one day, and I think he's going to be a damn good one. But I think at this point, you have to step back. I think Fieldhouse would be an amazing. I think Jim Schwartz is going to get hired. I think Shedeur Sanders is going to be the quarterback. But I think Fieldhouse would be an amazing offensive coordinator for Shedeur Sanders. I think he would be the best offensive coordinator. Just to be completely honest, he's well adjusted. He makes good adjustments on it. He's well structured. He knows how to teach the game. Fieldhouse would be a great offensive coordinator in that situation. So I think it's going to be.
I don't think Reese is
Or
ready to
Fader?
be head coach.
He's not. He's not. The Browns already eliminated him from head coaching consideration. They basically said, yeah, you're good. We love you. You're not ready. And I think Shieldhouse would be to answer William's question, I think Shieldhouse would be the perfect offensive coordinator for that situation.
Wait,
All right,
so
fair enough.
is Reese still going to be the offensive coordinator, or is he just?
We don't know because they haven't hired the head coach yet, and then the head coach will make that determination. From the way it looks, it's going to be Jim Schwartz.
That's what
So,
I've been saying. I've been saying they're probably going to go with Schwartz as a stopgap, and then they're going to promote Reese if Schwartz burns bridges as the head coach, or Schwartz doesn't work out as the head coach. That was my hypothesis from the beginning of the hiring process. What the Browns were going to do.
Well, Schwartz was always on the short list, but the big thought is, what does he think about offensive and defensive coordinator? And I think Tommy Reese has to go somewhere else. I think that the situation that he was handcuffed with Kevin Stefanski, idealistically, he would stay there. He would be an amazing offense coordinator. He would do everything right and so on and so forth. But I think he needs to start over. I think he needs a fresh start with that situation. And I think Shieldhouse brings a different perspective, a clearer perspective. And with Andrew Berry saying he's trying to get Shedeur Sanders ready for game one, yes, with Andrew Siciliano, he did let that slip. It was fun watching him fumble after that because he's somebody who doesn't necessarily make mistakes all that often when he's in interviews. So that was funny. But, it's going to be Shedeur Sanders. And who is the ideal offense coordinator? That would be Shieldhouse. That's ideal. That's in an ideal world, ideal situation. To William's point, because he wants perfect, ideal,
Until
whatever.
the head coach is hired, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yes, but to answer William's question, Fieldhouse, I believe, would be a perfect person to put in there as offensive coordinator in this situation.
You guys have any other coaching news? Because if you got some other news, now is probably the time to buy. Now, I've got the draft simulator up to 68 players, but if William wants to draft Tanner Kozoil, you might have to buy me a few more minutes because I know William loves tight ends. I know Kozoil is on your short list of guys. I mean, we're going to put him in. He's the next player we're going to add, but it's like, is that a player? If we do load the simulator today, is there a chance you're going to take Tanner Kozoil if we have him up? And do you want me to put him up? Because if you do, I'm going to have to buy a few more. Joey, you're going to have to buy me a few more minutes.
Okay, I'll buy you a few more
William,
minutes.
not for me. I'm doing this for William because I know William's a big Kozoil.
I appreciate it, man.
Well, that's the thing. William, just out of basic decency, if the 49ers need a new defensive coordinator, who do you think they would promote? Or who do you think they would bring in to be the 49ers defensive coordinator?
Well, that would definitely be interesting because, there's already people that are obviously talking about Robert Saleh and this and that, even though he's, 1 year removed from what I said in New York, as a, finding these coaches, the actual innovative ones, I would actually have to interview a defensive coordinator candidate because, the 3-4 and the 4-3 defense, the NFL defense hasn't changed in 40 years. You know, I mean, there obviously has to be something fresh and new, somebody with some ideas to come out
the
here
assistant
and
head coach of defense in the 49ers is Gus Bradley. They could promote him, but I think that would be a disaster of a move.
yeah.
My personal opinion.
Yeah. Now, William, I would throw a name out there, and I don't know how much you know about this guy, but he has been a defensive stalwart for two different teams. And for the last 6 years or so, he's been linebacker coach for the Browns. A guy I have been really high on. That's Coach Tabor, linebacker coach for the Browns. I've been high on him for years. I think he's an amazing coach. He develops guys at a rate of, you know, 3 or 4 guys who should per year who shouldn't even be on at times shouldn't even be on rosters. Who's developed 3 or 4 guys over the last 2 years that have become very good players. Do you think that the 49ers, if they were to interview external guys, do you think Tabor would be on there simply because of his ability to get the most out of people?
I definitely see how you have to consider that. I mean, with somebody coming in, and like I said, I want to hire somebody that's innovative, you know, that can think for themselves, and that's one of the surefire ways of making sure that, you know, is some of these guys are just riding the coattails of some of the, you know, best coaches out there, you know, and what they have done. And I would definitely be 100% thorough about it, but I would also have to have something like Robert Saleh and how, you know, he has a track record of doing very well and a track record of top 10 defenses, you know, every year that almost every year that he's been, you know, a coordinator. So that's the one thing that I would have to know, you know. I'd have to know if these guys can dig themselves out of a mess, and I want to know if these guys can put together a mess, you know, to actually make it work.
That's why I said interview and not hire the guys, because he has been a position coach his entire career, so he doesn't have that track record. But would you at least bring him in for an interview and see what he's got to offer?
Yeah, and it's the thing, you know. I mean, I haven't seen too many coaches out there or anyone trying to change a defense, you know, and compared to what it's been. But I think that also has a lot to do with, you know, the NFL wanting to score more points, you know, more excitement, more money, more everything, you know.
And I think that also has to deal with NFL defense coordinator personalities. It's like you want to learn as much as you can as a position coach and then take advantage when you do get your opportunity. Because some of these defensive coordinators, man, we've seen them. It's like, yeah, I don't want to get punched in the face today. I mean, a broken jaw is probably not a good thing. You know, some of these guys are pretty intense.
Well, that's, you know, one thing as well, too. If I had a defensive coordinator position open, you know, on a staff,
You don't want to hire the wrong coach.
I would want, you know, to know what my offensive coordinator, you know, what he would do. You know, I would have him involved in the process, you know, just to see what, you know, that they can come up with, you know, like, how do you stop this guy, or how would you stop this, you know, just hearing what it would actually take instead of just the guy riding somebody's coattails, you know, that's just sitting there saying all the right things. You know, it's like
also
would
difficult because something
Yeah.
I've heard in this coaching cycle, William, is that some head coaches and some defense coordinators, everybody's like, well, we would love this head coach defense coordinator combination because this was a former defense coordinator, so this should work well. And then I hear guys who have been around the game a long time like, dude, they kill each other. It's when it comes to defense coordinators are all like alpha males. It's like, and if you hire an alpha defense coordinator and you have an alpha defense coordinator and you try to get them to coincide and they have different philosophies, if their philosophy is perfectly aligned, you may have the best defense in history. But the chance is they're going to butt heads, and that's going to turn into a freaking disaster. So you also want to look at who your head coach is, not only who your offense coordinator is, but who your head coach is. Do you agree with that?
You want to look at the coordinators and the position coaches, see if there's an opportunity for promotion or if you've got a guy who's going to be targeted by other teams down the road.
I was asking William if the alpha defensive coordinator that gets promoted to head coach mentality, well, pairing him with an alpha defensive coordinator should be considered a no-go if their philosophies kind of clash a little bit.
Yeah, and that's interesting to see how compatible some players are, not just with the coaches. And I mean,
all right,
it would I think that more than just getting along with people, that I would be more leaning towards the scheme and how it fit. And I mean, rather than just a guy saying all the right things and maybe just running, some vanilla scheme or something along those lines. I mean, I would want the guy like we were just talking about Jeff Brom. I want the defensive coordinator that's like him. That when he obviously has that ability to ruffle people's feathers. I mean, I remember seeing one of his interviews from the XFL. When you're playing a quarterback, and he doesn't seem like that kind of guy who's interested in pleasing people with his words. He's the kind of guy that wants to put out, the scheme and the defense and just like take over, and that's the guy that I want. I don't want the guy saying
like the Mike Tomlin type guy.
Well, I'm not sure on the Mike Tomlin thing, because I'm not sure who Mike Tomlin is. I mean, obviously, who's been the last three coaches for the Steelers? Chuck Noll,
Bill Cowher, and
Mike Tomlin. They were all hired under the age
it.
of 40. They were all former defensive coordinators hired under the age of 40. The only candidate that fits that profile is Chris Shula. So
no, I will correct you, Chris. Bill Cowher was not a defense coordinator. He was a special teams coordinator.
Definitely.
Let me see. I'm pretty certain he was a defensive coordinator, but I'm going to look it up. He was a special teams coordinator with the Browns, but he was a defensive coordinator with the Chiefs. So you were incorrect on that. He was the Chiefs.
So we were both 50% correct on that because he did both.
Yes.
So we were both 50% correct on that one.
Yes. And then after he was the Browns special teams coordinator. He got promoted to defensive backs coach in 87, 88. And then he became the Chiefs defensive coordinator for 3 years, developed Derek Thomas, and then he went to the Steelers, and the rest is history. So
Derek Thomas was a rush.
Derek Thomas was the Chiefs' first-round pick in the 1989 draft, but 89 through 91 was when Cowher was with the Chiefs as defensive coordinator. So
Yeah,
Derek Thomas.
Pass rusher, wasn't he?
Yeah, Derek Thomas, pass rusher out of Alabama, all-time sack leader for the Chiefs.
Put it this way, that's why I had
Oh, okay.
I had Derek Thomas's rookie card.
Yeah, Chiefs' 5th overall pick in the 1989 NFL draft. Derek Thomas. Yeah, Bill Cowher played a pretty instrumental role in developing him as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, it's like, I got you because for some reason, I was stuck on the defensive backs coach part, and I was like, and my mind didn't catch up, and I'm like, pass rusher, defensive backs coach. It's like, how does this compute? And then my mind came to like, no, defensive coordinator, you bloody imbecile. It's like, so yeah, I get it. I understand.
And he was Marty's defensive coordinator too. Marty Schottenheimer. Was Marty still in the Browns at the time? I think Marty may have still been on the Browns.
Marty, I thought, was gone in 89 or 90. But I may be wrong on that because he was legendary with the Browns. So I may be wrong. He may have gotten up to when Belichick was hired.
My friend tweeted something funny. Kevin Stefanski and Jeff Ulbrich sponsored by Just for Men.
Yeah, that I can see that. Yes.
Yeah.
Kevin Stefanski has a great beard, but at the same time, Kevin Stefanski was gray as shit by 35. He was a freaking Eric Bischoff of football.
Gray as shit too. Ulbrich's gray as shit too. So
yeah, it's that is one thing I look at professional wrestling is like Eric Bischoff was in a interview and he said, I've been gray as shit since I was 17.
All right.
It's like, same thing with Stefanski. He's been gray as shit since he was 17.
My final question before I get Kozoil and Keenan on the simulator is, do you want me to stop at 70 or 72? Because the next two players on my list are Caden McDonald, Ohio State, and Chris Bell, the Louisville receiver. Both those guys are outside candidates to go in round one. Long shots.
I would go 17. Or I would go with 72.
All right.
I go with 72, and because I think that there are a couple the Ohio State left tackle, I think he is an underrated guy. I think Bell is like, he is a guy, he has the size, the speed, he has everything you want in a number one receiver, except the route running. And I think he, coming out of Louisville, is a guy that could go in late round one or late round two. So there's going to be some. There's going to be some.
Because I was going to ask about that before I finalize the simulator. So we'll add those four players. Kozoil, because after Chris Bell, the next guy on my list is Chandler Rivers. And I like Rivers, but he's a significant drop off from Chris Bell. So 72 is a perfect number to stop out.
He disappointed me when I watched tape on him.
Yeah.
I thought he was.
Terry Moore's going to Ohio State. Terry Moore, the Duke strong safety, he's going to Ohio State in the portal. He's replacing Downs.
Okay, we'll see how that works out. They've got a heck of a defensive coordinator, so it may enhance his draft prospects.
I'll give you guys some updates on underclass.
What do you think about Alabama's wide receiver, number 5? I watched tape on him the other day.
Ernie Bernard. I like him. Don't love him, but I like him deep enough.
That dude is a Swiss Army knife. that dude, I remember the South Carolina tape I watched on him, where the South Carolina corner just raised his hands and backed up when Bernard was running into the end zone on the sideline. It was like, damn, he was afraid of getting hit by this guy. This guy's got like 4% body fat. You know, he hits you, you feel it. It's like Bernard he's a Swiss Army knife. He runs good routes. He's fast. He just made somebody retreat, and gave up a touchdown. He's tough. Bernard, he may not be the quintessential X or Y, but man, you can put him X, you can put him Y, you can put him Z, you can line him up in the backfield. I mean, this dude is a weapon. And he is a weapon of the highest caliber.
Do you want some guys who went back to college? I got like a list of some highly talented players that went back to college with.
I was going to send you something, Chris. I was going to send you something. I don't know if I did or not. But it was a list of underclassmen.
Yeah.
Not the names of the underclassmen, but the number of underclassmen since 2021.
Yeah, it's only 42.
And
I saw this morning.
it went from 107 in 2021 to 42 this year.
Yes.
I mean, that is a massive decrease.
I agree. I'll give you some names of some players that went back. Dante Moore is the biggest name that went back. Shadir Hurst, the Tulane left guard, he would have been in my top 50, but he's a junior. He chose to go back. Bray Hubbard went back to Alabama. Pitt edge rusher Rasheem Biles, he was considered. Him and Kyle Lewis were both considered day. Biles went back.
That was a guy I thought would have been early day 2, maybe even day 1 guy.
Yeah, because I felt that way about Kyle Lewis. Lewis declared, but Biles went back. And he entered the portal, and now he's going to go to Texas. So Biles and Colin Simmons are going to be playing next to each other next year in Texas.
That's a damn good position to be in, going to
And
Texas.
Texas also got Cam Coleman, the Auburn receiver, in the portal
as well.
Love the Texas coaching staff right now and what they're doing. The Texas coaching staff is just top notch right now. They're high end.
Ole Miss. Suntrain Perkins, Ole Miss outside linebacker. He went back. Mateo Ugalele went back. In addition to Dante Moore, BYU running back LJ Martin went back.
I thought he was going to be a first round pick.
Perkins, yeah, he went back.
Ugalele,
yeah.
Ugalele did not win any one-on-ones against either Carter Smith or Caleb Tiernan. He did well against the right tackles for Indiana Northwestern, but he struggled in the one-on-ones against the left tackles. I had a second on him. I'm glad he went back. He'll probably be a first in the 2027 class, though. LJ Martin, BYU running back, went back. Amori Washington, the Oregon defensive tackle, went back. Trey White, the San Diego State edge rusher, who I had 14 sacks last year, entered the portal. He's at Texas Tech. Texas Tech also got.
Trey White is a guy who's going to be a top 15 pick next year.
I agree. Trey White.
Just because he is not only one of the best, he's going to a school that will teach him how to be an actual player and not just an athlete. And I love that play.
Yeah, and Texas Tech also got
Austin Romaine, the middle linebacker William and I loved at the beginning of the year for Kansas State. He entered the portal.
He's going to be on Texas Tech with Trey White.
I thought Romaine was good. I didn't love him, but I thought he was good. It's like it's same situation there. It's like Texas Tech's defense is very good at turning great athletes into great players. They're not great at turning great players into great athletes, but at the same time, great athletes into great players, they're really good at it. So I'm encouraged.
Right now, my top 2 QBs are saying and more for 2027, but
So the Duke quarterback is expected to go to the Miami Hurricanes to replace Carson Beck. Josh Hoover's expected to leave TCU to replace Mendoza.
I heard that. I heard that, and that actually makes me feel better about Miami's prospects next year because I'm higher on him than I am Carson Beck.
I am.
I think he's a far better player than Carson Beck is. So that makes me feel better about Miami's prospects next year.
Yep. Coy Parrish, the Minnesota strong safety, transferred to Oregon. He's going to replace Dylan Thieneman next year. Cam Cook, the Jacksonville State running back, I think he's in the portal. Cam Edwards, the Connecticut running back, transferred to Michigan State. Evan Stewart's going to go back to Oregon next year. Jontez Williams is transferring from Iowa State to USC. Rod Moore is coming back to Michigan next year. Justice Haynes is transferring from Michigan to Georgia Tech. Tao Johnson, the free safety at a smaller school, is transferring to UCLA. Terrence Carter Jr. went back to Texas Tech. Wayne Knight is leaving Army. He's going to go to UCLA. And those are some of the underclassmen that have gone back for next year's draft. But I think next year's draft could have as many as 5 first-round QBs, maybe 6 if Carr.
Chris, you didn't go into something very important in that transfer portal. Like James Madison's entire offense left. I mean, they're all gone. I mean, so anybody who could possibly be in the draft from James Madison, they're gone.
I think Wayne Knight may have been the James Madison running back. It was either Wayne Knight. Wayne Knight was either the Army running back or the James Madison. Wayne Knight was the James Madison running back. He's going to UCLA next year. So Nico Imaleva is going to have him as the running back he can depend on to take pressure off of him.
Because we were talking at work, myself and my buddy D, about the guys in the portal because he studies the portal really closely, and he was like, "Dude, everybody that team was record breaking for the school, and they all left. It's like they left nothing. They left a bare bones. Every single talented player there. Several of those offensive players went to the same school. They're friends. They went to the same school. In the transfer portal, it was insane how they did that. And there were so many potential draft picks that were just like, you know what, James Madison ain't for us, and we're friends, so we're going to go over here. And that just, we were talking about that, and it just blew our minds. It's like, it's like everybody walked away. Everybody went somewhere bigger. And it's like, damn, James Madison's going to have to up their game. Because you're losing NFL draft prospects out the ass if you're not going to up your game.
Yep. I agree. I've got Kozoil on the simulator. I'm adding Keenan now, and then I'm going to get the pictures of the last 2 players, Chris Bell and the Ohio State defensive tackle, and then we'll have 72, and then we'll be ready. So, I think today's going to be interesting, though. I mean, not just the coaching search, but the GM searches. I think the Packers assistant went to Miami. The Falcons, didn't they hire a GM the other day? I know Matt Ryan's the director of football operations or something.
Yeah, they hired Matt Ryan as president of football operations.
Yeah.
William, I got a question for you on this one. It just got brought to mind by something Chris said. Who do you think is the top, outside of Mike McCarthy, or not Mike McCarthy, Mike McDaniel, who is the top offensive coordinator on the market, do you think? Somebody who is like a passing game coordinator or a quarterback's coach, or who do you think is there at the offensive coordinator position that some of these new coaches hire? You hear the question, William? William?
Wait, is William still here? Okay,
There
he's
you
here. I gotta turn his mic on. That's my fault. I'm fixing it now, William. I'm turning your mic on now. There we go. There we go.
No, I'm still on the Jeff Brom trip. Like, why isn't this guy getting more attention? And, maybe he's just happy in Louisville, or maybe he's just, indifferent about it and just wants to stay in college. I mean, the NFL is pretty much a rat race when it comes to it, but I'm really wondering, I'm also wondering why everyone's talking about defensive coordinators as candidates this year, between Evero and between Salah and between, I mean, the NFL, obviously, that they've been pushing for points scored. They've been pushing for this. I'm sure that's why they haven't, come up with any changes to the 4-3-3-4 scheme compared to some of the others. It's like, so I don't know. I mean, obviously, like you said, McDaniel's there, but he's going to be one of those.
Yeah, that brings up an interesting question. I'm glad you brought that up. What would happen if one of these defensive guys said, "We want to bring back the 3-3-5. We want to go full Bears, Buddy Ryan. One of the greatest defensive schemes ever created. We're going to bring that back." What do you think? Do you think any of these defensive minds, because you said creativity, working with the system, if you bring back the 3-35, I mean, wouldn't that be something that, general managers and owners would be like, damn, we might want to try this.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, if you're meaning like the 3-3-5 nickel, I mean, it's the most ran defense between the 4-2-5 nickel. I mean, for the most part, that's the.
The 3-35 was a little bit different from the nickel, as
I'm just not hearing you.
You could do so much more out of 3-35 because you could put linebackers back in the defensive backfield, or you can bring DBs up. So it was a little bit different, and it was a little more versatile than the nickel of today. The nickel of today is more, you have this big corner that can work both ways, whereas you could mismatch the 3-3-5 and do so much more with it scheme-wise. So it's a little bit different than the modern nickel in that there's no nickel corner. It is basically, okay, we have this dude who's extremely athletic, and he can do whatever the hell he wants, in there, and that makes the entire difference of the system. So you can pull them up to run a 34, you can keep them in the back, you can put them on the line, you can make them blitz, you can have them in the back guarding people. I mean, that extra person was somebody who had no size, no real position. That extra person was just there. And Bud Ryan played that to a T. And I think that's the difference between back then and the modern day nickel corner. Because you couldn't do that. You can't do all that with the modern day nickel corner.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously they're doing something along those lines with what they're calling the star position. Like an Isaiah Simmons that is 6'4", like 220 pounds. Just a big dude that can do anything. Like I mean, can you imagine what Charles Woodson would do in the NFL? Now. I mean, that guy, he could line up anywhere, and he knew where
Yeah.
everyone was on the field. I mean, just his IQ was off the chart. But
Oh
there's
yeah, Woodson
so
would
many of
destroy
those,
anyone.
and Isaiah Simmons has always had that potential. He's just never grasped it or reached it, And I mean, so then, I mean, he got signed by somebody, I don't know, cut and signed it towards the beginning of the season or whatever. But
That would be the perfect example. If they would go to if somebody says I want to run a 335 and I want Isaiah Simmons to be that guy, you know, to bring back, and all it takes is one.
as
All
a
it takes
coach,
is and one guy.
I wouldn't be mad at that because I figured that I could probably put him in the right position to handle what he needed to with his athletic skills, And
Yeah, and all it takes is one guy in one situation to create completely change the entire dynamic of the league. We've seen that multiple times.
oh
And
yeah,
it takes like Simmons and say, we're going to run 3-3-5 and we're going to put you in that fifth position and we're going to have you wreak havoc on everybody. That could change the entire dynamic of the league. I mean, it's a tough sell. But at the same time, if it worked out,
I was on mute. Sorry, I was talking
you're
about
good.
Gene and what he's been able to do with the Eagles. I mean, because he can line up anywhere between cornerback 2 and nickel and linebacker, and I mean, the kid is just anytime he touches the ball, he can score. So
And I love players like that, and I think the 3-3-5 is perfect to accentuate those talents. And I'm just disappointed that nobody has thought outside the box and said, we want to bring this guy and we want to make him wreak havoc on everybody else the way that they did, back when, I hate to say it, but back when men were men and women were proud of it. We're going to put you in there and we're going to have you just do whatever the fuck, just calling everybody.
Well, that's kind of what I played in high school, between linebacker and safety, and just playing center field, and going after. And my coach absolutely loved it, because of what I would do. I would just play the ball all the time and had a little bit of a ruffled feathers because of I didn't have the right last name to play quarterback, so it was one of those things. I would tee off on the quarterback, and whoever thought they were the star of that, it was like
Mr. Troy Polamalu over here, like Troy Polamalu was probably the last one that was actually put in the position, and I give Bill Cowher all the credit in the world. He put Troy Polamalu in that 3-3-5 position without technically making it a 3-3-5. And I think Troy Polamalu may have actually been the last one of a dying breed in that situation where he could just go in there. They could line up a linebacker. They could put him back at safety. They could put him in slot corner. They could do everything with it. I think Troy Polamalu might have been the last of that breed.
Well, if I were a coach, that would be one of the things that I would absolutely make a premium would be finding that guy, the leader of the defense, the playmaker on defense, the guy that, whether it be a middle linebacker, that's playing the quarterback of defense, or whether it be, the big safety, whatever you want to call them. I mean, that I would definitely put a premium on finding that guy on my team.
I totally agree 100%, because if you have that one guy that can diagnose anything on a defense and play multiple positions, it's like that is invaluable.
Yeah. And like I said, it would just, and I would, Cooper DeJean is one of those players that I would love to be that guy. I mean, if I were a coach, I mean, because he can score anytime he gets his hands on the ball. I mean, he's a hell of a punt returner, hell of a kick returner, and he might not be, he's 6 foot, like 205, 210, something like that, pretty normal size safety, whatever you want to call that. But I feel that, with his athletic skills and being in that position, that could actually, change the outcome of so many different games.
All right.
Gene Kranz was the head of NASA for 30-some years, and he said during the Apollo 13 mission, I don't care what it can, I don't care what it is designed to do, I care about what it can do. And that's something that I have carried through, even through my coaching career and through my scouting career. I carried that because it doesn't matter what you're designed to do, it matters what you can do.
All right.
And when you can do everything, well, guess what? You got something special.
Guys, I've just finished adding player 72 to the simulator. So you guys ready?
Ready
to
when you are.
hop into this?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, William, this was a hell of a discussion. I love this.
And I appreciate you guys buying me as much time as possible while I perfect everything.
Yes, sir. We got you back, homie.
We got you, man. And I'm not sure what upstairs neighbor's doing, but the soul music is something for the soul.
Yes, the Raiders are on the clock, and since everyone and their mother knows this pick's going to be Mendoza, I'm just going to make the pick for Mendoza. If Joey wants the Browns at 6, he's got to pick at the 3, so that means William gets the second pick in the draft. But yes, the Raiders, Mendoza, Indiana. And yes, you can let the timer run down to 0 if you're not sure what to do. But
please don't, because my phone battery is not doing well even when it's on the charger. So please do not let it run down to 0.
Yeah. All right. But I don't think Williams going to do that. But yeah, Reuben Bain Jr. is my number 2 player. You also have David Bailey. Is there a certain position you want if you're the Jets here at 2? Because I think the Jets, it's not a great QB draft after Mendoza.
Yeah.
I mean, your options are Pavia, Carson Beck. You could reach for one of them. You could reach
not
for
great. That's an understatement.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be interesting what they do here, because obviously, we talked the other day that there's a few quarterbacks like say Baron Morton, like Garrett Nussmeier, that I see have the potential, but after what they did with Justin Fields this last year, I'd be scared as a quarterback of being picked by them. I mean, it would.
And William, there was something that a coworker said the other day that I didn't think about before, but I totally agree with. Is like, what if Monroe looked at the draft and said, the Jets? The hell? It was like, absolutely not. I'm going back to college. It's like, just because it was the Jets, because the Jets they are the one franchise to say, man, I'm proud to be a Browns fan. our front office, our dysfunction is nothing but what the hell they got. So what if Moore went back to college simply because he looked at the Jets and said, "Oh hell no."
I think that's part of it. And he's going to be mentoring Dylan Raiola, who I think is a better quarterback prospect on film.
But yeah, Raiola left Nebraska and transferred to Oregon.
Yeah. As for
Moore's gonna be mentoring.
what they got going on here with the second pick in the draft, I would just have to take the best player off the board. And
best player is Ruben Bain Jr. You don't want to click on any positions or get selective. All right, I'll just give you Ruben Bain.
I think I might go Caleb Downs instead of Ruben Bain.
All right, Ruben Bain. The reason I brought up Ruben Bain is because Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, 2 first-round picks are under contract, but Will McDonald regressed from 12.5 sacks to 8.5 sacks before a season-ending injury, and Jermaine Johnson just hasn't been the same
since his first 2 years in the league.
Yeah. And even though Jermaine got a 5th-year tender, I think Ruben Bain, you try to trade
Jermaine Johnson for whatever you can get. I think that's the smartest thing the Jets can do. I don't know if the Jets are going to do that, though.
And William, you said you wanted Caleb Downs, who I believe is 4th on our board.
Yeah.
So I can either scroll down to 4. Is that who you want? Downs at 2?
It would definitely be between Bain and Downs. With Will McDonald, I compared him to a double quarter pounder with cheese in my evaluation. He's a good pass rusher. I mean, he obviously has the skill, but he's not, doesn't have kind of a jack of all trades kind of guy, but he's obviously, you said he regressed a little bit. Well, obviously they got the
season-ending injury as a rookie, 12.5 sacks in year 2, 8.5 sacks this year before another.
Yeah, actually, give me Bain. You talked me into it, bud.
Jermaine Johnson has not had a season of 10 sacks. He got hyped up out of Florida State even more so than more so than Will McDonald.
You talked him into it,
Johnson, and building from the trenches, and that's one thing I've been talking about the Jets for a minute needed to do, and they haven't been. Building from the trenches.
So Ruben Bain Jr. is the pick.
Yep.
All right, Joey, you are on the clock with the Cardinals at number 3. The best
Cardinals are a stupid, messed up team that is really weird right now. You got to go with the best player available. I go Caleb Downs.
I got Bailey and Downs both at a 97. The only 98s I have in this draft for potential are Mendoza and Bain, but they're going to go 1-2. I don't think there's a wrong choice between Bailey and Downs. I think if you want the sack artist next to Sweat, you pick Bailey, but Downs would be a upgrade over. I believe the free safety I believe Buda Baker and Jalen Thompson are both UFAs. I'm looking that up right now.
Either way, Downs is William. What were we talking about when Chris was doing his coding? That one guy that can do all of it, who can do everything. Downs.
And I like
Downs made one mistake all year that I watched, and that was a stupid mistake, which could be turned into effort. The effort was simply because he was trying to stop somebody and he accidentally pushed them into the first down. That's it. Yeah. That is the only mistake he made.
And look, I love Buda Baker, but he's better at strong safety than he is at free safety. And he's not really a true center fielder. He's only had to play free safety because they have Jalen Thompson as well. And Jalen Thompson's not very good, and he's a UFA. But you get a true center fielder like Downs, and you can rotate. You can play either Baker or Downs at free safety. You can play either at strong safety. They're both really good safety tandem. That's a great safety tandem for the Cardinals. Crap, I accidentally gave the Titans Jeremiah Love. That was my pick.
Nice.
Well, good accident. Love your accident. Your accident is a very good accident. So
Why is it a very good accident? The Titans need a pass rusher and they need a left tackle. So why is giving Jeremiah Love a good accident?
because he is, when was the last time the Titans were good? Oh yeah, when they had the best rushing game in the NFL with Eddie George and Aaron McNair, and then with Derrick Henry. One of the last time Titans were any good. Like the only times in their entire history, whether it be the Oilers or the Titans, they ever any good was when they had the best pass rush in the league or the best rushing game in the league. That's the only time they've ever been good at anything in their team's history. So guess what? There you go. You just repeated history on a good level.
I'm looking to see if the Titans can get out of the Tony. Okay, Tony Pollard's at the UFA in 2027. There is a buyout clause in his contract, according to Spotrac.
Why do you have to get rid of Pollard?
The buyout.
Pollard's been solid.
The buyout. So Tony Pollard, if you cut Tony Pollard, you save $7,250,000 in cap space. There's only a dead cap of $2 million.
Pollard and Love, you have a very good running game.
And you still have Spears on a rookie deal for one more season. So you can buy out Tony Pollard and replace him with Love. It wasn't my first idea. I was going to take Bailey here, but I think the computer did all right here, considering that, the Titans have always been good when they had a running back to complement the QB.
It wasn't the best pick, but it was a good pick, and I wouldn't be upset if the system actually did it.
So first, I haven't really made a pick yet, but I'll wait till 7 to make my pick. I'll be a grown up about it. All right, William, you are on the clock here at number 5 with the Giants. I'm guessing you want a receiver.
Yes,
here
I do.
With down.
I think that Dart and Scatabo absolutely need some more firepower in the skill positions, and receiver or a tight end that's obviously too high for a tight end at this point in this draft. Give me Jordan Tyson.
Jordan Tyson of Arizona State.
Yes, I like that.
All right. And Joey, the Browns are on the clock. Do you want me to stay at receiver, or do you want me to switch to some of the other positions?
I'm going to make this very easy for you. I do not want to see any of the offensive tackles that the Browns have again in my entire life. If I have to see one of their offensive tackles try to sack Shedeur Sanders again, I'm going to lose my shit. I'm going Llama, Utah.
All right, so that is my number 3 lineman. I've got Smith and Mauigoa. I've got Parker now at a OT3, but yeah, Fano. We'll go with Fano here. He was our preseason OT1. Had a very good season at Utah under Kyle Whittingham. So that'll be.
And that says something about Utah that they've got 2 guys who are potential top 10 picks at offensive tackle. I mean that is almost unheard of, and it's amazing that they're both there because both those guys can play left tackle or right tackle. I mean, how often does that happen? I mean, Utah did a good thing. I want to shake their hands.
And now it is my first official pick. I'm not counting the Mendoza pick because everyone and their mother knows he's going number 1. And I'm not counting auto draft, even though it's a very scenario.
I'm going to have to zone out for a second. I'm going to have to get off here because my phone battery is about to die. I need to charge it real quick. I'm at the house. So give me 10, 15 minutes. By the time I come back, we should be good. All right?
Yeah. We will take as much time as we need here. Because all right, because auto draft gives me 8 minutes, and I know I'm taking David Bailey at 7, William. I know I'm taking David Bailey at 7. But Auto Draft's going to give me David Bailey if I don't make a pick, and I buy Joey more time to draft, because the new draft rule is instead of each team having 10 minutes to pick, they're only going to have 8 minutes to pick. And the reason I'm going David Bailey, it's very simple, William. Von Miller's the current right end of the Commanders. David Bailey had 22.5 sacks. He will fix that pass rush for Washington. I didn't think Bailey would be here at 7, but because he's here, I'm going to pick him. And that's a very easy pick for me to make. Washington could also go running back. They could go tight end. I'm going to go David Bailey, but I am going to bleed the clock and give Joey the time that he needs. And then the Saints are up at number 8. They need a receiver, but they also need edge rushers. I don't know.
Saints need a whole lot of things, and
you'll be picking for them while Joey's charging his phone. So, yeah, we're doing Joey a favor by not making a pick. We're actually doing Joey a huge favor. Right? Because it's like you already know.
Let's see who can I get into trouble with the Saints.
I mean, you could go with Lemon, you could go with Tate, you could go with defensive end. I'm just looking to see, like,
I think they have to take care of their young quarterback too, and
because right now Olav's had 5 concussions in his 3-year career. Plus, he had like a lung surgery in week 18. That's why he missed week 18. He had like a lung surgery. So I just feel like I love Olav, but at the same time, paying him $30 to $40 million a year is fiscally irresponsible. With all
yeah, he's one hit from ending up on his couch, or being in a winding up on his couch permanently. And I think this is one of those things. Yeah, I know exactly who I'm going to take, and it's just because of the track record and everything else. So I'll save my surprise.
Yeah, we'll wait for Joey to get back, and then when time runs out, I'm getting a snack here. I'm getting the cookie dough flavored Oreos. And for every game the Patriots win, I will eat these Oreos. They are awful, by the way. These are the worst Oreos I've had since the Halloween Oreos that made me throw up when I was 8. And I love cookie dough. I love cookie dough ice cream. I love cookie dough is my favorite flavor ice cream, so I should love the cookie dough flavored Oreos. I can't. The cookie dough flavored cream is awful. I can't tell if these are the Mark Davis of Oreos, the Dave Tepper of Oreos, or the Bryce Young of Oreos. That's how awful this is.
That's bad, dude. That's bad.
I should not be comparing my Oreos to Mark Davis or Dave Tepper. So if these are the Mark Davis or the Dave Tepper of Oreos, and the Oreos that made me, the Halloween Oreos that made me vomit when I'm 8, are the Woody Johnson of Oreos. It's a small punishment I have to endure for the Patriots winning a playoff game. I will eat all of these on the stream every week if the Patriots win the Super Bowl. That's how desperate I am for another championship. I'll even go as far as to eat an Oreo flavor of Joey's choice on the stream after, if we win the whole thing. But yeah, if the Patriots beat the Texans, I got to eat the second batch of these next week on the show. There's only like 4 left in the first batch when I tried. They're not good. Well, I will put myself through this much hell. We'll get a 7th championship this season. Yeah, I know. William thinks it's amusing.
Oh, definitely. I find most things amusing. Man. Trying to think who to pair with Tyler Shuck.
I'm still on the clock for another 2 minutes, but again, I know I'm going Bailey, and I'm trying to buy Joey time.
Yeah, for sure. like I said, there's not a tight end to take this high. I don't feel in this draft. Well, I guess I haven't done my final on the Max Clara, but it's pretty obvious that that this class isn't like last year's class of tight ends. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, my best player on the board after David Bailey's Carter Smith. The Saints drafted 2 offensive tackles in the first round. They're not taking Carter Smith. So, I mean, right now your choices are maybe Peter Woods if you want to go defensive tackle. You could get a middle linebacker, but the Saints took Stutzman last year and didn't start him. They're probably going to start him next year. So middle linebacker really doesn't make a lot of sense. So it's really wide receiver. That's really the only position the Saints
Great
need.
minds think alike, man. And Stutzman he's one of those players who just, I mean, so incredibly
Good
strong.
news is I only have to eat 3 more of these god-awful Oreos, and then I am done with the first row, and I don't have to touch these again until next week.
And I'm still seeing all these horrible takes on Kenyon Sadiq and how he's such a deep threat in his receiving, and his routes are so good. And I'm like, oh man, here we go.
All right, so the Commanders select David Bailey, Texas Tech edge rusher.
I'm taking as much as it burns my Niners for letting them slide, but with the Saints, I think I pretty much decided on Carnell Tate. I mean, he's just too good. His hands are too soft. I mean, he's close to 6'4". I mean, he's a big dude, and his body control is just. I mean, he's the Ohio State wide receiver, and
443. Yeah, we don't want to chance it. 440. That's like, as long as we pick him by it's 1234 right now. As long as we pick him by 1240, I think we're in the clear. But I don't want to chance this, and you end up with, because if I chance this, you'll end up with a tackle, and the Saints aren't going to take a tackle. But I'm trying to buy as much time as I can for Joey too. But I know you're taking Tate.
all right. Of course, the writing is pretty much on the wall for the Niners as well after Kittle blowing his Achilles out, and just the mess they've had at wide receiver. When Demarcus Robinson is your best wide receiver, I mean, they definitely need some work. I mean, in that category, And like I said, the whole Kittle blown Achilles is just something I've been talking about for like 2 years now. That the Niners need to get a plan for what's after Kittle. And obviously tight ends are.
I've got Kenyon Sadiq at 18 on the board, and I've got Eli Stowers at 31. So one of them should be there, but San Francisco, since they won, we will not be picking for them this week. Unfortunately, we can revisit this next week if you want to pick for them when they get eliminated. Or if they win the whole thing, we'll have to wait till next month.
That would just break my heart,
You wouldn't mind that. You wouldn't mind that, having to wait till next month to pick for the Niners if your team won it all.
Like I said, that would just break my heart, Chris. They'd just, I don't know if I could handle that.
Wouldn't you be happy about your team
very
winning?
much. And
Okay, then. It's just the fact that you have to wait till next month to make a pick. That's what breaks your heart. Yes. I agree. I mean, the Patriots, I'm going to go best edge rusher, but I can't make a pick until next month either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably should lock in on Tate. Let's see. How many of these Oreos? We've got 2 of them left. And, yeah, these are awful. And then I'm going to put the rest of these back in the kitchen. How much time do I have left before I have to click on lemon or Tate? 260 seconds. So we have about 4 minutes.
Oh, minutes.
All right. 4 minutes. So as long as I make the selection by 12:40, right at 12:40, we're in the clear. But I should not chance future picks. Hopefully Joey's back soon, but I know he's got to charge his phone. I'll eat one Oreo, then I'll eat. Because I'm sure Joey has something to say about the cookie dough flavored Oreos, especially if I rant about how awful they are.
I'm sitting here watching film while we're waiting on Joey. Make sure I know what I'm talking about so I'm not full of it.
Well, the next team you're picking for is the Dolphins at 11. So could take a tight end there.
They definitely need one. I mean, who was their latest?
Joey's
Waller?
picking for the Chiefs. The Chiefs are on deck. Joey's picking for the Chiefs. The Chiefs are on deck. And, well, if Joey does not pick on time, they will get the best player on the board. And the best player on the board is Indiana left tackle Carter Smith. But he would move to right tackle next to Simmons in that scenario if Joey doesn't pick on time via auto draft. But, yeah. How pissed are you going to be if the Chiefs get Cardinal Tate in the draft?
Not overly. I know Shanahan. Obviously, I generally get the position right. It's the player that I'm a little bit off on, and I think that's just Shanahan. Doing his thing. He's got a little bit of a different taste and a whole lot more information than I have. So. I think most of these wide receivers in this class between Lemon and freaking Jordan Tyson. I mean, aren't they pretty much all 6 foot nothing? 200 and nothing. I mean, there's not any that are overly huge. Or, I mean, like we mentioned, Tate is almost like 6'4". I mean.
6'3", 195, but he looks like he's 6'4".
Yeah, he plays big too, and
we've got 100 seconds left before we have to legitimately turn the pick in. But yeah,
I'm watching Mekhi Lemon here, and
I'm going to announce the pick by 12:40. I'm going to announce the pick by 12:40. I just don't want to milk this thing any further because, if it gets down to 5-8 seconds auto draft, okay, it's at 65 seconds now. So we probably could wait till 12:41, but we're better off not chancing it. All right. So Carter Smith. I'm coming up with a contingency plan in case Joey does not come back on time. I don't think Carter Smith or Jacob Rodriguez is the pick. The number 8 player on my board is Peter Woods is number 9 on my board. That's a good player to pair with Chris Jones, build that interior up. That is going to be our contingency plan if Joey does not show up before time runs out.
Sounds like a plan. What I see Mekhi Lemon doing a lot of here, he's getting a lot of yards after the catch. They're throwing, just getting the ball in his hands.
I'm not opposed to Mekhi Lemon here either if I'm the Chiefs. Because if you don't want to give Rishi Rice a second contract, because you lose Marquez Brown, Hollywood Brown's a UFA. But if you don't want to re-sign Rishi Rice, one thing you can do is you can keep Rice for one more year. Worthy will be an approve-it year on the third year of his rookie deal, and then you'll have another receiver in a rookie deal in Mekhi Lemon. And it's competition between Lemon and Worthy for wide receiver 1, and then whoever loses, that's your wide receiver 2. And basically, Rashee Rice is the slot guy, and then he's the odd man out, and he tests the market in free agency. That is the other plan.
One thing I'm loving about Lemon right here is watching him, and he is something else to take down to being important.
I think the Chiefs are going to go either Peter Woods, Kenyon Sadiq, or Mekhi Lemon. I don't know which player they're going to take of those three. And if Tate or Tyson falls to 9, they're in the discussion as well. So.
But yeah, Lemon's a pretty hard dude to take down. I mean,
there's Chiefs fans that think they're going to get Reuben Bain Jr. Like, no, you're not going to get Reuben Bain Jr. You might get Jeremiah Love. You're not going to get Reuben Bain Jr. You have a better chance of catching Jerry Jones and Michael Irvin doing cocaine in the Cowboys' war room than you do of getting Reuben Bain Jr. Sorry, Chiefs fans. I'm just being brutally honest with you. You're not getting Reuben Bain Jr.,
real.
Okay?
That's.
You have a better chance of catching Michael Irvin and Jerry Jones doing cocaine in the Cowboys' war room.
Wow.
I know Jerry Jones does not resort to drugs on draft night. But could you imagine? That's why I brought up that hypothetical. You have a better chance of catching Jerry Jones doing drugs during the draft than you do of getting Reuben Bain Jr. I know, I'm beating the joke into the ground like a dead horse at this point.
Seriously, though, man.
As long as I don't beat the joke into the ground in front of a dead horse that Jerry Jones owns, I think nobody's going to complain. All right. But, yeah, it is Joey's turn to pick. I'll text him, see if
yeah, Mekhi Lemon is just he's a hard dude to take down, man.
I agree. It's got to be either Woods or Lemon
plays,
here.
Man. That's a hell of a trade to have, especially at receiver.
Mekhi Lemon's 21. Peter Woods is 20. Peter Woods is younger, and I think and that's the thing. The Chiefs are going to go for longevity.
Yeah.
So Peter Woods is the top defensive tackle in the draft. I think yeah. Yep, so.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the Chiefs do with Travis Kelce after what's going on there. Seeing how they replace him, because I mean, obviously, the guy was a pretty good tight end, and like I mentioned, Kenyon Sadiq, he has the blocking skills, and he can obviously work on his routes and work on that other stuff, while he's getting on the field blocking, but he's going to be on the field early and often, and just because of that trait, and it's going to give him a chance to learn, and it's going to give him a chance to be with a really good team. And
okay, we've got 5 minutes or 2.5 minutes. 150 seconds is 2.5 minutes. I thought we had 5 minutes. We got 2.5 to pick Peter Woods. So Joey will join once his phone. I think he's going to wait till his phone gets back to 100% before joining, and that could take a while. So Peter Woods. All right, so we've still got 111, 110 seconds. Woods, yeah. But yeah, and no, because I will, when we have trades in the group mock, I will temporarily update the simulator based on those trades, and then I will change the code back to what its default was after I update the trades, because that is something I'm going to have to prepare for. "65 seconds to pick." All right, before I make Peter Woods the pick, these are some bird. My brother hates bird teams, so he got me some poker chips with some bird teams. We've got Louisville, we've got Kansas, we've got Delaware, the Delaware Blue Hens, we've got the Georgia Southern Eagles. No, this is Florida Gulf Coast, not Georgia Southern. Then we got Southern Miss, Brett Favre's alma mater. We've got Illinois State, and then we've got Iowa. We got the Iowa poker chip. So all the bird teams. This was at a place in Vegas at the airport. These are basically called golf chips. They're poker chips, but they're called golf chips. I don't know why, but I'm just gonna lock in on Peter Woods. All right, Bengals are up. You've got plenty of time to pick. Best player on the board is Indiana left tackle Carter Smith, but the Bengals have Orlando Brown Jr. I think Anthony Hill Jr. is the best fit. I mean, they drafted 2 outside linebackers, Demetrius Knight in round 2, Barrett Carter in round 4, and they moved Knight to middle linebacker if you're trading Logan Wilson. So I think Hill or Arvell Reese, if you want to keep him at Mike linebacker, those are the 2 best fits. You could go Jacob Rodriguez, but I don't think it's as good of a fit as middle linebacker. You could also go with a tight end here. I really don't know what to say, William, because the Bengals, they need help mainly at cornerback, middle linebacker, and maybe some help on the interior offensive line. I don't think they need help at outside linebacker or receiver. So this is a tough team to pick for, in my opinion.
Yeah, for real. Is Arvell Reese still on the board?
He is still available.
Yeah, give me Reese. Like I was talking about that player, you know, the defensive leader, you know, 6'4", 243, 4'5", 40.
We've got 400 seconds, so I can wait till 12:55 to lock in the pick. Remember, I'm trying to buy Joey as much time as possible because this technically should be my pick, but since Joey didn't pick, I technically took over at 9. So we know Arvell Reese is going to be Williams' pick if that's contingent on Joey returning, which means I get to pick for Miami at 11. And in this scenario, I'm probably going to give the Dolphins Mekhi Lemon because I think Mekhi Lemon is higher on my board. I've got a blue chip grade on Lemon. I don't have a blue chip grade on Kenyon Sadiq anymore. So I'm probably going to go Mekhi Lemon at 11 for Miami, and you'll have Waddle and Lemon, and you'll have Malik Washington in the slot for Quinn Ewers. Still need a tight end, but you can get a tight end in round 2 the way this draft's going.
Yeah, and there's some good ones in this draft. I mean,
I've only set up the first 32 picks, but once the Super Bowl ends, I'll naturally add round 2 and then round 3 minus the comp picks. I'm kind of waiting to – and we're only doing the first 24 picks today. We're not doing, like, the entire first round yet because right now the Niners are projected to pick at 26 or 27, and that's subject to change if they beat Seattle tonight, which they should. So,
man, and no one, I absolutely love it. No one is giving the Niners a chance in hell today, and I just love being the underdog, man. I mean, everyone is talking about, how
Andrew
is Seattle
Kermish and
going?
Tracy Porter both picked the Niners, but there were no locks during divisional round week. Tony Mario took the Houston Texans to beat the Patriots, so there were no locks in divisional round
Yeah.
week.
And it just, yeah.
And the Patriots Patriots are going to have all 53 guys at full health. There are 22 best starters at full health for the first time since Week 11 when they beat the Jets when Milton Williams got injured. So before Milton Williams got injured in that game, so they're going to have their 22 best starters. And when they had their 22 best starters from weeks 4 through 11, they were a machine. Is that Joey that just came back in? I thought I heard someone. Yeah, that is Joey. Perfect timing.
I don't have a lot of battery left, but I got a lot more than I did before. So
William wanted Arville Oris at 10. So we picked Peter Woods for the Chiefs because your pick ran out of time. So now we'll get back to the normal draft order where I pick at 13, William picks at 14, Joey picks at 15. But yeah, number 11, William, do you want a tight end here for the Dolphins, or should I go 11?
Actually, I do. And
all right, you want Cedric? Which one do you want?
Not that I would pick him here, but I would take Kenyon Sadiq because I feel that he's going to be on the field a whole lot sooner than some of the other guys and have a chance to develop. So, and I think someone's gonna grab Sadiq pretty high somewhere because of his blocking skills. I mean, he's fun to watch.
Cowboys are on the clock at 12. Cowboys are on the clock at 12. It's Joey's pick. It's his turn to pick. He's back. So you're back, Joey.
I think it just reconnected me and disconnected me about 15 times in a row. So we'll see.
But yes, you're on the clock at number 12. The best player on the board is Carter Smith. If you took him, you got the right tackle, and you could cut Tarek Steele to save cap space. But if you don't want Carter Smith, I can click on a position, and you can look at the options at that position. Yeah. Joey was on for a second, then it disconnected.
Darn it.
It's almost like Jerry Jones is in a power struggle with Joey, and he's trying to make sure Joey doesn't call into Restream. Sorry, but I had to go there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Cowboys are on the clock, and Joey's in a power struggle with Jerry Jones. I thought.
How can we screw this up for the Cowboys?
Well, if Joey's connection's bad, Jerry Jones will get a pick via auto draft. I haven't put any fullbacks or kickers into the draft, unfortunately, William. Otherwise, we could screw this up royally. But yes, the Cowboys are on the clock. It's Joey's turn to pick. Is there a position you want me to click on?
Oh, I'm actually back this time without 20.
You are. Joey, you need to just, instead of ranting about being back, you need to just act with urgency, buddy. I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's like you technically
For a few minutes, so
please.
Who's left on the board?
Carter Smith, Jacob Rodriguez, but is there a certain position you want?
Carter Smith's an interesting prospect. I think his draft stock will largely depend on Monday night.
Yeah.
Who are the
I can click on a certain position. Jerry Jones is like I almost think Jerry Jones is in a power struggle with Joey. I mean, this is just add to stream. Damn it. I thought I added Joey to the stream, and then Restream's like, nope.
Wherever the Niners end up in this draft, I'll swap it anyone as long as I get a pick for the Niners.
All right, this is getting freaking stupid. And it's like, it's like,
If you don't want Smith, I can click on a different position because right now it just lists all the players in the top 2 BPAs. I agree, Joey. This is you're in a power struggle with Jerry Jones. You know who you want before audio disconnects.
just give me Carter Smith. Just give me Carter Smith.
Well, Auto Draft's going to give you Carter Smith if you don't pick on time since he's the BPA, but I'll just click on Carter Smith to save us some time. And it is my turn to pick here. And I believe the Rams have this pick from Atlanta. Yeah, so the Rams have pick 13 from Atlanta. I don't think the Rams need a linebacker, though. I know, William, giving them a linebacker and giving the Niners a better player is your dream scenario here. I don't think that's a realistic scenario, though. No. So I could go Anthony Hill Jr. I'm not going to go Anthony Hill Jr. Let me look at the Rams linebackers here because it is my pick. I'm on the clock at 13. So I'm tempted to go Anthony Hill Jr. here, but I want to see what my options are. Right now, Nate Landman and Omar Speights are the linebackers on the Rams. So as long as Nate Landman's not a free agent, I'm leaning corner or offensive tackle. But I want to see what the exact I agree, Joey. This is so Landman, Speights, and Sean Dolac are under contract with the Rams. So they're not taking a middle linebacker. They're not taking a middle linebacker. So that leaves me with corner or right tackle if because Rob Havenstein's a UFA. The last 2 years of his contract were voided. So my options are Maui Goa or Mansour Delane. And I'm not sure which of those two is the better option here. But I'm going to see what the best player on the board is, but I'm going to go either Delane or Maui Goa. And I could also go Lemon and replace Devontae Adams, get McVay another weapon. But I'm going to go Francis Maui Goa and replace Havenstein with Maui Goa. Damn it, I accidentally clicked on Mansour Delane for Williams' pick with the Ravens. I'm sorry. Auto draft. I swear that was auto draft. So the Ravens got Mansour Delane, the top corner in the draft.
No worries.
With the pick William would make. Sorry about that. So you're back on the clock, Joey, at 15. But if audio disconnects, we'll just let William make a pick at 15 to speed this up. If you're back and you want to make a pick at 15,
who am I picking for?
So you are picking for the Buccaneers, I believe. I believe the Buccaneers have the 15th pick in the draft.
Yep.
You're picking for the Buccaneers. Damn it.
Wide receiver. Wide receiver.
All right. Buccaneers, they've already got they got a lot. They got Egbuka, they've got
Tez Johnson.
Evans is probably going to retire. Conley might retire. Give him wide receiver before I disconnect again.
Lemon or
Lemon.
Surratt. You got Lemon.
Lemon.
Makai Lemon. So now you've got a wide receiver trio of Godwin, Egbuka, and Lemon for Baker Mayfield. Very interesting. And number 16 is the Jets. We went Reuben Bain Jr. with this first pick. We are going to get another player on the defensive side of the ball. We need to get a true weak side linebacker for this defense to bolster the front seven even more. So we're going to go Jacob
Give him
Rodriguez
God.
out of
Give him God because that's what they need.
They're getting Jacob Rodriguez. The Jets are at 16.
They need Jesus. That's what they need.
Well, Williams going to pick for the Lions at 17 here. Lions don't need a middle linebacker. They've got Jack Campbell still in a rookie deal. You could go TJ Parker, Clemson edge rusher, and get another edge next to Hutchinson. That's an option. I don't think any of the tight ends have been picked. Well, actually, you took Kenyon Sadiq. You could take Laporta's in the final year of his rookie deal. You could get a tight end. You could get a receiver. Obviously, Hill is a good value pick here, but is there a position? I mean, the number 2 corner in this draft is Jermod McCoy. Actually, it's Pons. I moved Pons ahead of Jermod McCoy. You could get Pons as a nickel corner. You have Terry and Arnold on a rookie deal, and Lions did bring in DJ Reed, but Amik Roberts has been a liability as the nickel corner this year compared to last year. You could go with D'Angelo Pons here and get another piece of the secondary. You can also get a guard or a center to bolster the interior line. So there's a lot of options here, William.
Yeah. Let me think.
If there's a position you want me to click on, I can click on a position too.
I'm scanning some things. I got it.
And if you click on fullback or kicker, it's just orange. Nothing's there.
Probably. I'm probably in the ballpark of the secondary. Let's see who we got here.
D'Angelo Pons and then Jermod McCoy are the top 2 corners. Top 2 safeties, you got Dylan Thieneman and then Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, the Toledo safety. So if you want a strong safety, Thieneman is your option. But, Brian Branch's on a rookie deal for 1 more year, and I believe Kirby Joseph got paid this offseason. So that leads me to believe it's either going to be a corner or Thieneman.
Yeah, that's one thing is Campbell he's going to come up with his own player right here. It's not going to be anybody. I mean, obviously between what he did with Campbell and Gibbs and everything else, but give me Jermod McCoy.
Sounds good.
We'll just go with
the Lions select
the
back Tennessee. And Joey, you are on the clock with the Vikings at pick 18. I mean, Anthony Hill, the Vikings. Yeah, Vikings are on the clock at 18.
The Vikings are a thing.
Yeah, Minnesota Vikings, they're on the clock. You've got their pick at 18.
Oh, I could go a few directions with this one. Like I stated before, the Vikings, they have a pass rush that kind of makes up for their lack of DB ability. But what would happen if they had the best DB in the draft to help that elite pass rush. So they could go from third or fourth pass defense in the league to maybe number one.
Yeah.
So who is the best DB available, Chris?
Best cornerback available is D'Angelo Pons. He had the pick 6 against Dante Moore in the first play game. The best safety on my board is Dylan Thieneman, but I do have Manuel McNeil Warren at 32 on my board because I think right now I'd say the Broncos, the only position they're going to need is a free safety, and they might take McNeil Warren in the first, as crazy as it sounds. So,
Well, what if the Vikings had a turnover machine?
yeah.
I'm going to give McNeil Warren.
Terrell is still available. Chris Johnson, San Diego State's still available.
I'm going McNeil Warren.
All right.
We want a turnover machine there at the Vikings because they've been keeping them from really ascending to the number one pass defense. They don't have a DB. You put a turnover machine at DB, they're going to be a force.
Dave Tepper cannot go wrong with either of these two players, Anthony Hill Jr. or TJ Parker. I'm going to go Hill Jr. here because, one, he's the best player on the board, and two, Christian Roseboom's a UFA. Austin Corbett's also a UFA, and there's Panthers fans saying, let's pay Corbett $10 million a year. Why would you do that when you can get Logan Jones, Jake Slaughter, or Indiana's Pat Coogan on a rookie deal for much cheaper, not significant, not cheaper than $10 million. Like we're talking anywhere from $2 to $5 million this year, and then that gradually expands. Why would you pay Corbett when you can get one of those three for significantly less than $10 million a year and potentially upgrade your center position? But here with the Panthers, I'm going to go Anthony Hill Jr. This is a very easy pick for me to make. And then Williams back on the clock at 20. You're picking for the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
This is the Packers pick technically, but the Cowboys, they took Carter Smith at 12, so their only other needs an edge rusher, and the best pass rusher on the board is TJ Parker. So you could just stand pat and take Parker, or you're thinking maybe, Cowboys have stability at tight end. They've got stability at running back. They could use another corner, though. You could give them a 5'9" corner. That's probably the best way to piss off Jerry Jones. You could give him D'Angelo Pons, a 5'9" corner. That's if your goal is to piss off Jerry Jones, that's probably the route to go.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. D'Angelo Pons is a Dallas Cowboy. And Joey's picking for the Steelers. Steelers have the 21st pick. So the good news is you got to pick for the Browns at 6, and you get to pick for them again at 24. The bad news is you have to pick for the Steelers.
This is a weird pick for me because the Steelers are an aging team with no direction, whose long-time direction just stepped down. This is a unique situation. It doesn't come around very often. I'm going to go with a pick that is a little bit against the grain, but has long-term results and shows a turn of the page a little bit, which is
Last week, Ron
with Mike Tomlin gone.
The air.
With Mike Tomlin gone, this is important. You have to go with a new direction. I'm going to go Ty Simpson, quarterback, Alabama.
Not on the simulator. I did not add him. Pobby is available. Carson Beck is available, and Trinidad Chambliss is available.
I'm still going Ty Simpson.
Ty Simpson's not on the simulator. I can't click on Simpson.
Well, then just click on a random name because Ty Simpson's the guy that needs to be on there because right now he is the number 2 quarterback.
For me, he's the number 6 quarterback, respectfully. And you can make it, he's the number 6 quarterback for me. I'm debating whether to put Aguilar ahead of him. That should tell you I'm not a fan of Simpson, but
I'm a fan of what Simpson can be. And the Steelers need a complete change of direction. Because everything they've done so far is right now in flux.
I don't think the Steelers are going to take Diego Pavia, even though he is my QB2. So that narrows it down to Beck and Chambliss. I can't. Simulator will not give you Simpson because he's not on the simulator yet.
Give him a random player because I've already stated on the podcast, so they know who I really want.
Well,
so give him a random player and give him a random player, and it works.
Jay Parker. They've got Highsmith. They've got Watt. They've got Nick Herbig is the backup to Highsmith, and they've got Jack Sawyer as the backup to Watt. And the best player available is T.J. Parker, by the way. So that's who auto draft.
Give him a random. Like I said, give him a random player.
Okay.
It's like everybody knows who I want. I just made that clear. So it's
I'm guessing if it was between Chambliss and Beck, you would pick Chambliss.
Well, he's against Beck. I mean, I've never been a huge fan of Beck. I mean, that's
Beck beat him though with 15 seconds left by the skin of his teeth.
He beat him for 15 seconds. Gosh darn it!
Trinidad Chambliss, it is.
I guess that 15 seconds can get a girl pregnant. So I mean, 15 seconds is a pretty good number there.
Okay, the Chargers are on the clock. This is my last pick, and Khalil Mack's getting older. Tuli Tuipulotu had 12 and a half sacks, but if you let Khalil Mack walk and you let Bud Dupree walk, you're going to need another edge rusher. I know the Chargers like to go offense over defense. I'm aware of that, but they have to draft. They have to start drafting some defensive players to complement their young core. Otherwise, there's not going to be a window for Herbert down the road, a Super Bowl window. So I'm going T.J. Parker here with my last pick. And now Williams picking for the Eagles. The team, his Niners just knocked the Eagles out of the playoffs. So Williams' last pick, the Eagles.
The Eagles. Let's see. Usually the Eagles or division rivals are the ones that take the players that I want for my Niners. But let's say with the Eagles, they've stacked up that defense. I mean, they have so many, highly rated prospects coming out on defense, and I'm trying to think. Ooh, let's see.
Could get Cooper DeJean another friend in the secondary. I'm kidding. Yeah. Not gonna
no, I was thinking about it. I was sitting here looking at Tiedemann.
Dylan Thieneman's the best player on the board. You could give Cooper DeJean another friend in the secondary. But
yeah, let's do that.
Dylan Thieneman is an Eagle. The Eagles select Dylan Thieneman, and Joey will wrap this up. Logan Jones is my best player available, but I've got a feeling Joey's going to take Surratt here because he's the best receiver on the board. The best safety is Michael Taffe. I don't think you're going Taffe. I've got a mid-second on Taffe, by the way. So, yeah. But, yeah, this will be the last pick we make because this is the only pick that's official. And for everyone wondering, it's always going to say round 1 regardless of what pick it is. Like when round 2 starts at pick 33, I don't know how to change the code. So there's still things I need to fix with this simulator. It's far from perfect, but the visuals are good enough to where we can work with it. But yeah. And once Joey makes his selection, we will go to NFL predictions and wrap this up. Is Joey still on the stream? Yeah, he is.
Oh shit! I accidentally muted you. My bad. The top guard on the board. Is that Kansas State guard, Iona or whatever?
Elijah Surratt's there. If there's a different position you want,
Yeah, I'm looking at options. He's the top guard on the board.
top guard for me is Caden Green out of Missouri, but I own Penn State is there. I've also added Jaden Roberts, Alabama, pregnant of Oregon's my number 3 guard. I've got Bo Stevens as my number 5 guard.
Okay, I am from Penn State. I am from Penn State because right now, if your quarterback, I don't care who it is, if he cannot step up in the pocket, if he's under threat from pass rush, which here's in the last 7 games, Shedeur Sanders was under threat from pass rush 40% of the time on 40% of his dropbacks. That is unacceptable. Unacceptable from any level on any team on any level of football.
Yeah.
They need people to allow him to step up into the pocket. This is a deep receiver class. But the bottom line is, if you cannot step up and you're always looking back and forth to who's coming from where, you're never going to be able to succeed.
And you look at what Vrabel did. You look at what Elliott Wolf and Vrabel did. They fixed the left side of the Patriots' offensive line. Will Campbell, Jared Wilson. Now the Browns are taking a page from my Patriots in this mock draft with Otto and Ione.
And what's the one guy that I said from before he was hired by the Patriots? I said Elliott Wolf is going to be a great general manager. Take pages from his book, and that's what I'm doing right here. I'm taking pages from his book. Same thing I said 3 years ago when he was the Browns assistant general manager. I said, be Elliott Wolf, who was taking pages from his father's book, who is one of the best general managers of all time. Take those thought processes, take those pages. That's what I'm doing right here. Fix that freaking side of the offensive line, and because with the Browns, I've said for 2 years, Luke Whippler, unfortunately he got injured in the last game last year. Luke Whippler's a future star. This dude has everything, and until he got injured in the last few games when he started in the last month of the season, he was he led all centers in pass rush win rate for an offensive lineman. He gave up 1 pressure. He let 1 guy pass in 4 weeks. Absolutely amazing.
Yep, and that's the first round.
So
we'll get to the NFL predictions now, though. But yeah, we'll leave a link to the simulator in the description on the YouTube channel after the show, because I'm sure there are some people that would love to have a link to the simulator and to check it out. So I will make sure to leave a link to the simulator after the podcast ends, because I think that's the least we can do for our audience.
absolutely.
And I'm going to open up this tab. It's going to show us the divisional round games. And Colston Loveland tied, but since I had a photo of May of the Bears in the server, we went with Drake May. I know it looks really biased for us to go with the Patriots 2 weeks in a row. Conference title, we will have it'll either be Bo Nix, or if the Patriots are hosting the Bills, we will go with the hosting team for the NFC. Because if we go with the Patriots 3 weeks in a row, then it's just as much as I'd love to put Christian Gonzalez on the cover, at a certain point, you have to draw a line in the sword and put your fandom aside. And even I have enough cognizant alertness to recognize that. The Bills play the Broncos. I took the Broncos. I have both AFC teams winning by a point. I'm not going to say which teams, but I have both AFC divisional round games being decided by a point. I took Broncos 21, Bills 20 with the under. This was a 5-4 split decision with Wes, Andrew Kermish, Oren, William, and Daniel Keyser taking the Bills, and we took the Broncos. You, me, Tony Mario, and Tracy took the Broncos. So, because last week we said the Broncos might be the favorite to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's like it's like I thought I sent you my picks, but I forgot because I've had a lot of things going on.
And I remember what you said last week. Last week you said Bears Broncos was your Super Bowl, and I remember you had the Patriots and the AFC title. The only thing I needed was Seattle, San Francisco, and I guess you would take Seattle as the home team. If I'm wrong, I will revise that right now. If I'm wrong,
that works for this game. This game stays as was. I think the Broncos are the better team here.
I think the Broncos win by a meager point.
It's good. You know, it's like I was icing my spine most of the week, so I kind of forgot a little bit about what I did from point A to point B.
Yep. So I've got the Broncos winning by a meager point, 21-20. My mom wants Josh Allen to win it this year because she likes the Chiefs. She likes the Steelers. She feels bad for Josh Allen, but Josh Allen's going to lose. Sorry, Mom. Sorry.
He's big, tall, and handsome. Okay, Mom likes him.
I hope my Patriots get beat in the game, but I think Denver's going to knock him out today. But Allen's going to win next year's Super Bowl. And the fact that the Bills have had the ref advantage in each of the first two rounds of the playoffs, Carl Sheffers is calling the game today. Bills are 2-0 this season under Sheffers, but they've had the ref advantage in the wild card round, now the divisional round. So I'm just saying there's a pattern here. We'll see if it holds.
I can see Chris off stage like, Mom, stop crushing on Josh Allen. Go over here.
I don't have to worry about my mom crushing on Josh Allen because if she gets out of line near Josh Allen, Haley Steinfeld will whoop my mom's ass.
Miss Steinfeld, please hold off.
And Haley wore a the Broncos picture of Haley Steinfeld from when the Broncos won Super Bowl 50 over the week. A lot of people in the media trolling Allen's over that. But yeah, 49ers and the Seahawks. It's in Seattle. I think Darnold's due for his first playoff win, but I think the Niners cover the spread. Right now, the spread is -7. That is way too high for Seattle. I think they only win by 2. I've got the Seahawks winning 23-21. I think the Niners keep this close. If you want, I can change your pick to San Francisco. But
yeah, I've got the 49ers in this. I've been following this all week, and it was the big thing for me is that the coaching situation and how they manage the injuries. I mean, there is no reason for
now we have 5 decisions instead of 1 split decision. We got 2 now. So
yeah, the way their coaches managed the injury decisions last week, I have no reason to doubt that they're going to manage them spectacularly this week, and that's going to propel them forward the same way they did last week.
Yeah, I think there's basically 5 teams that can win the Super Bowl left in this field. The Bills, if they get to the Super Bowl, the Broncos, the Seahawks, the Bears, and the Patriots. That's really it. I think those are the only 5 teams left in the field that can win the Super Bowl. And I would go.
Here's the thing, Chris. I said when the 49ers lost the Super Bowl, that Shanahan should have been fired. He should have been because he threw that game. Point blank, he threw that game.
Team in Atlanta with the Patriots Falcons game. He threw that game too when he was the Falcons OC.
Well, it was just a bad decision. That you had McCaffrey, who was a quarterback at one point, yet you decided to put a guy back in that could not throw a football. He literally could not throw a football. And you could have just gone wildcat and thrown the football and run it, and you could have done a lot with it. I said that was a fireable offense.
Yeah.
And it was. But Shanahan is a guy that learns. He learns from his mistakes, and he has shown that he can learn from his mistakes. I think he is going to learn from this situation, and he is going to come out, and the 49ers are going to say, you know what? We have learned from all of our mistakes during the season. We're here. We whooped ass last week. We're going to whoop ass again this week.
I think McVay or Shanahan's going to replace Andy Reid in Kansas City when Andy Reid retires. I don't know which one. It's just a hunch I got.
That's just a hell of a speculation for you.
The thing is, I've seen all week on social media, no one giving the 49ers a chance to win. And I mean, obviously, we already beat them 17-13 week one in Seattle. I mean, with what came up a few weeks ago, when they beat us for the 1 seed, that doesn't mean a whole lot, And like I said, Seattle's obviously the healthier team. I mean, they actually have a wide receiver, and JSN. But I just think with what the Niners have done this season, effectively next man up, and they somehow pull it out, at the end. They end up winning the game. We beat the Eagles last week, which was just absolutely great. I loved it, and I think it's going to happen again.
My brother does not like any of the bird teams. He doesn't like any of the bird teams. He doesn't think any of the bird teams belong in the league.
Yeah, well, and the
Seahawks. I mean, the only bird team that's bearable for you as a Niners fan is the Ravens, and that's because they play in the AFC.
Oh, the last time I remember playing them, it was in the Super Bowl, and
maybe I spoke too soon.
Well, for all of you out there, 49ers fans, and for Chris's brother, I'm going to do all y'all solid.
And my half
on behalf of the 49ers, I'm going to flip the Seahawks the bird. And we're going to see how much they like that one.
Yeah, my half-brother Ward is a 49ers fan. He got a picture with Frank Gore at an airport. He also put up the Rams Super Bowl 56 banner. So I believe Ward blatantly and intentionally cursed the Rams when he put up the Rams Super Bowl banner because he's a 49ers fan. And he also does like construction work. So if he put up the Rams Super Bowl banner, I believe he cursed the Rams when he did so.
Look, I do like your brother. We talked a couple times.
I have two brothers, Joey. I have two brothers. I have Andrew and I have my half-brother Ward, who's a Niners fan. So you've met Andrew and Ward. So
well, Chris, you have too many brothers. I mean, we figured that out. It's like
I mean,
your genetics are spread way too thin.
My dad had 2 children with Vicky, and then he had 2 children with my mom, and Andrew and I were brothers, and then Ward and Jenny, they were the 2 children he had with Vicky. So I have a half brother.
Still fewer children than my dad had, but still the point stands. Your brothers are good guys. I like them.
Yep. And Ward was also.
And I am willing to flip the bird to the Seahawks for your brothers.
Both
Yeah.
William,
I think also
you're a
with-
49ers fan, you're going to flip the bird too?
with what the Seahawks have going is Sam Darnold. Obviously, he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league the last 2 seasons, with Minnesota and now Seattle, and they just keep letting him go. But, he hasn't proved that he can win yet.
When I type the Seahawks game recap tonight, should I make sure "Bird is the word" is the song we put in the Instagram feed?
Bird.
Bird is the
Yeah, that would be a good one. Yes. First, Sam Darnold goes. It's like I give him the benefit of the doubt because he was drafted by the Jets. That in itself is career suicide. So I give him the benefit of the doubt. He has some rehab to do on his game. But at the same time, I'm not going to name him a superstar, and I'm not going to name the Seahawks winners of this game because he's just not that good of a team.
Seahawks have the best offensive tackle tandem in the league this year, and Zabel's been great, and the Niners have a bunch of injuries. That's my argument for Seattle, but I think most people here want to see Kyle Shanahan advance around. It's like Seattle's a very bland 1 seed. I'll be the first to admit it. They've got a lot of talent on both sides of the ball, but they're kind of bland for a 1 seed.
Yeah, well, I mean, the one thing that absolutely stands out, this is obviously a rivalry game. We've gone at, this is one of those games that's going to come down to one play, and that's going to decide it.
Guys, I hate
let's get to the last 2 games. I think
I hate to see this up because my phone's about to go down.
It's going to come down to one of the best, JSN or McCaffrey making a touchdown catch, and that's going to be it. It's just how it's going to be, and it's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to come.
I've got 23-21 and the under. The over/under is 44.5. But yeah, Texans, Patriots. The Patriots got Tonga back, so the Patriots will have all 22 starters at full health for the first time since Week 11 before Milton Williams got injured. So, and the Patriots were unbeaten when they had all 22 starters at full
Random fact. Nick Chubb now has more playoff wins in Pittsburgh than the Steelers have since 2011. So just take that as you will.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb now has more playoff victories in the city of Pittsburgh.
Even though he's the third-string running back, or fourth-string if he's on IR, it doesn't matter. He has more wins. He's still a member of the active roster.
I just thought that was an interesting stat you can throw in there.
Patriots, I have the Patriots winning by 1 point, 17-16. This game's going to be a lot closer. Yes, Patriots are fully healthy, and yes, we don't have to deal with Nico Collins, but Texans have the best defense in the league, in my honest opinion. They've had 3 corners win player of the game on the site this year, only team in the league to do that, and they've got Will Anderson, Daniel Hunter, only team with 2 sack artists.
Patriots win by a touchdown.
I've got the Patriots by 17-16. This is not a lock, though. Tony Mario took the Texans in the upset. So, yeah, Tony Mario likes the Texans more than the Bills.
It's not an unquestioned thought process.
Tony's the only one who has a Broncos-Texans AFC championship. And I'm not going to lie. That is literally the worst case. It's a best case scenario for the sports books, but it's the worst case scenario for the cable networks. To not have Drake May or Josh Allen the AFC title game is suicide.
That would be crazy.
It's suicide for Jim Nantz and Tony Romo.
That is literally the worst case scenario for them. But yeah, 17-16, give me the Patriots by a meager point. And then the final game, it's the Rams, it's the Bears. I'd like the Bears in this one. I think
Bears.
William, Joey, and I are the only 3 Draft Utopia members that took the Bears. Basically, everyone else on the staff that has not contributed to the podcast has formed a union against the company, and that union is taking the Rams to beat the Bears. I'm just trying to figure out who's the ringleader behind the union.
Well, here's the thing. It's probably somebody who wants the Rams coaching staff broken up, because as soon as the Rams lose, they lose the passing game coordinator and their defense coordinator. So you know it's going to happen. You can't stop it. And these people who want the Rams to lose and the people who want the Rams to win are all on separate sides. Because you know it's going to happen.
You, me, and William
the ramifications.
You, me, and
They're
William
laid out.
to lose. I went on Sportshead Radio, Emmanuel Watson's podcast, and I said the Bears are the only team in this weekend that's going to win by double digits. I've got the Bears winning 31-17, 2 touchdowns. I've got Caleb Williams beating Stafford by 2 touchdowns.
Watching what Ben Johnson has done with the Bears and the comebacks that he has pulled, I mean, he's obviously he knows what the hell he's doing, and I just don't see the Rams, being able to compete with that. I mean,
we would all be stupid to think that,
trying to think of these
that Ben Johnson didn't know what the hell he was doing. A great offensive mind is going to make a quarterback with a lot of potential a great player, and that is going to propel a team forward. Right. And there's nothing you can do about that. And Ben Johnson is that guy.
I basically joked that he stole Dan Campbell's Dan Campbell lost his mojo like Austin Powers. Ben Johnson, he took Dan Campbell's mojo before he left Detroit, and he took it with him to Chicago. That's what happened. Okay.
Well, I wouldn't say that, because Dan Campbell was likely to bite off Ben Johnson's mojo just because he can. Because there is the difference between a guy who has mojo and a guy who's willing to bite off the genitalia of the opponent just to make sure that mojo doesn't go the other way. And so Dan Campbell was kind of a beast here. And Ben Johnson, he's got some mojo.
He's got Dan Campbell.
Just don't cross Dan Campbell. And he hasn't crossed Dan Campbell yet. Dan Campbell will be back. He will ingest somebody else's mojo.
I'm trying to figure out who would be the ringleader behind this union of the 6 people that picked the Rams: Oren, Tony Mario, Kerm, Tracy, West, Daniel.
Oren.
Who of these 6 is the ringleader of the Draft Utopia Union?
Oren. It's like, remember, Oren and myself didn't like each other for years. And then we drank whiskey together on the same podcast, drove Chris absolutely out of his freaking mind. And we ended up becoming friends because whiskey and Chris losing his fucking mind. It was both of us on whiskey.
Yeah.
So, and that was a 4-hour draft night special that Chris had to live through, and probably still has nightmares about.
That was the Patrick Mahomes draft, I believe, the 2000, because the 2015 draft, it was you, me, and a friend was at my house, but he was depressed that I was ignoring him. 2016, I think you and Oren hated each other. You guys were going at each other's throats in 2016. So I think the 2017 draft, the Myles Garrett, Patrick Mahomes draft, that was the draft where you put your differences aside, drank whiskey, and became friends.
And it was also the same draft where you decided that having me and Warren drink whiskey on the same draft night was probably not a good idea for the podcast. Though it was a highly successful podcast, despite the fact that I think you lost some brain cells.
2018
Feeling was night.
2018 was the draft where I lost some brain cells because I was cussing so much during the first round of that draft.
But at the same time, it was dealing with me and Oren both on whiskey. We had so much whiskey that day between the two of us. That was something that you were
theory, and I buy it. It's sound.
So. Yeah, that was something that was beyond whatever you had thought of before. It's like you never want that again.
All right, so we've got the Bears winning. We've got Indiana. Joey's got Miami. Patriots. No locks this week. Should be a fun lead up to the conference title. Anything else you want to add before we sign off for good today? Oh, we got something in the chat room.
How about fuck the Seahawks?
It's more appropriate than what I read in the chat room, which I'm not going to read on the podcast. So, yeah, let's end it on that note.